was a California August in 82 when my mother gave birth to the Spam Tech crew. 13 years later had me looking at Linux. Programming made me stronger like Papa the Spinach. Now, people know that a DG carry weapons, but if that weapon is a nest you step in, we finish Contra with only one life. Finish Metal Gear 2 using only a knife, right? People might think that we're frontin', then they see all the noobs online that I'm putting. My rhymes flow just like my code, even though my source is owned by Sko. What about my Indian? I keep it low. See me on Gunbound, call me pro. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Crackers spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Crackers spam. I said my heart's wide open, goatsy, and my windows min like Ho Chi. I'm just another nerd, but I rap about it. Shit talk on the net, then I laugh about it. I've been caught slipping like the Star Wars kid when I'm on eBay sniping a bid. Catch me on a webcam like Numa Numa. See me at the club and I'm rocking Puma. Another net legend if you see me yodel. Spit a little something that's anecdotal. Tell me about the time the E-Bombs world stole your chop like I stole your girl. Catch me on Gen May, not something awful. Low tax would ban me, raffle. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Crackers spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Crackers spams. Yeah. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Crackers spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Crackers jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Crackers spams. Yeah.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGD, and I'm joined here by my right hand man, the Blinded Braille. What's up, Blinded?
What's up? What's up, everybody?
I see YouTube is having the trouble again, like last time, where it's saying on the channel page that we're not actually live yet.
Right.
But we are live, so I figure people will eventually figure it out. They'll understand that we are live, and they'll pop in as they do. But in the meantime, how's your day been, Blind?
Pretty good. Nothing much, just exercise. Worked on some things.
Oh yeah, what'd you work on?
Just writing. I got that couple of things to finish off, including that video on Ant-Man. So. Yeah.
What is it? Redoing Ant-Man or something?
Yeah, fixing Ant-Man. So that one's going to be an edited video. So it takes some time.
Oh, what up, Wisp? You seem to be the first one that popped in. He says maybe someone has to post in chat. Maybe.
It's weird. There's some glitch going on.
Yeah. As soon as you posted in chat, two people popped in, and then StreamElements spot decided to show up. So yeah, maybe it is. Maybe we need to start posting in chat at the top of the hour.
Yeah, it's weird. What's going on, YouTube?
We got a lot to talk about. Kang is in the news because Johnathon Majors may or may not have choked a bitch.
Oh, boy.
So we're going to have to discuss that. Hollywood producer has pulled an Elizabeth Warren, and it turns out she may not be exactly Native American. Ooh.
Oof.
And of course, we got to talk about this Questlove directed live action, semi live action, CGI ish Aristocats.
Oh God.
Then we're going to go ahead and mosey over and discuss some new classics being rewritten for modern sensitivities, what that means, how we feel about that. And then lastly, but not leastly, just for fun, we're going to tackle this issue of digital blackface. It's always
Which
funny.
is stupid.
Yeah, it is completely stupid. It's always funny. In America, I'm not black or white, but my people, we don't get represented. It's like it's always a black or white issue, right? So you can't use black people emojis or black people gifs, but use all the brown people you want, right? No one cares about us.
Right. Oh man.
It's always weird.
That's
I remember,
America, man.
It is. It was funny because I want to say like fifth or sixth grade, right? Probably fifth grade. I remember we had this little like school assembly thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was about race relations and don't be racist. It's one of those like special PSA assemblies were like, all right, everybody, don't be racist, and we're like, yay, right? And so they're talking about black and white issues, and the school was 99% Hispanic, right? We're like, none of this applies to anybody here. There's no white kids, there's no black kids. We're all brown, except for the one Muslim kid. So technically, he's brown too, right? But a different shade of brown.
Yeah, different side of the country of the world. Yeah. Oh man!
So it was just weird, right? It's like, did you guys do any preparation when you decided to book this little, anti-racist thing?
Nah, they just read off some notes that the fucking school board gave them.
Yeah. Then they did a little yo-yo display, so we were cool. Like, oh yeah, look at yo-yos, and everybody got yo-yos.
No, man.
Which time-traveling superhero is more of a woman beater, Flash or Kang?
Oof. Oh, goddamn, who knows?
It's close. Hey, what's up, Sam Wilder? Says the Rexer Show sent you. Awesome. We're glad that we're getting some people coming from other communities. With that said, I guess it's best to just dive into it. Where do you want to start? Blinded?
I guess we should talk about Aristocrats because that's a trend now on this channel, talking about these Disney movies.
Well, it is Aristocats.
Aristocrats. My stupid ass. Listen, I've never seen this movie.
Would be that joke.
Right.
You've never seen the Aristocats?
No, I've never seen Aristocats.
That's the one with the porn in the windows.
Was it? I thought it was the... Wait, so the mouse...
No, that's the Rescuers. No, that's Rescuers.
Yeah. I was gonna say that.
Aristocats has something else.
Right. Yeah. This
is
porn
in all Disney movies.
Yeah. There's Aristocats is like the Lady and the Tramp, but with cats. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah. Aristocrats is a joke where you tell a horrible, disgusting act, and then you end it with, they're called the Aristocrats. Questlove is to direct live-action Aristocats for Disney. The director earned an Oscar nod for a doc feature, Summer of Soul. I didn't know he directed anything. Isn't he like a musician? Questlove?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know he directed anything either. Questlove.
Amir Questlove Thompson is getting behind the camera for his narrative feature debut for Disney. The Oscar and Grammy winner will direct a live-action adaptation of the jazz-focused 1970s animated feature, The Aristocats, for the studio. The story follows a cat and her 3 kittens who inherit the fortune of their heiress owner, only to have a jealous butler dump the cats out in the countryside. The cats have to find their way back home to Paris with the help of a musically inclined alley cat. The original voice cast included Eva Gabor and Phil Harris, with music by Robert and Richard Sherman, whose legendary work for the studio included Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. This already just reading the first like paragraph, it seems like there's nothing, and they're just like really padding the fuck
Just
out
padding
of this.
it out, right?
Yeah.
As always.
Thompson will also oversee the music for the film, which will have a script by Will Gluck and Keith Bunnan. Gluck and his production company Olive Bridge are producing along with Thompson's 215 Entertainment. Thompson will executive produce with Tariq Trotter, Sean G, and Zara Zolman. No idea who any of those people are.
Same. Don't know.
Thompson, rep by WME, earned an Oscar for his work on the doc feature Summer of Soul, which was distributed by Disney's Hulu. He's the drummer and frontman for the hip-hop band The Roots, which serves as the house band for The Tonight Show starring... I didn't know they were The Tonight Show band.
Yes.
When did this happen?
No, I think it's been a while now.
I don't watch late night TV anymore.
Yeah, I don't either, but they're pretty prominent on there.
Disney has found success with its live-action remakes with The Little Mermaid and Snow White among those coming up. There's a Snow White coming out?
Yes, with Gal Gadot and this... I don't remember her name, but she was in Shazam 2 recently. Yeah.
Grace Fulton?
No, it's this younger actress. What's her name?
Well, that looks like that's it. That's the whole article. Wow.
Rachel Zegler?
Zegler, yeah.
Zegler? Zegler. Okay.
She was in what the hell was
she was in
recently
West Side Story. Yeah. Yes. That's it.
Yeah, that movie sucked.
That's what I heard,
They changed there's a big moment in West Side Story where there's a stabbing. I don't want to give it away in case you haven't watched it. But in the new version, they changed the circumstances behind the stabbing, and it kind of shifts the narrative.
Right.
But yeah.
I'm not a fan
how do you feel
of
about
musicals, but yeah. About this particular topic, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not that interested, but I do think it is interesting that they did get a director who is more music focused. I mean, yes, he hasn't directed a narrative film, which I tend to think, some directors can bounce back between a documentary and a narrative film easily, but sometimes they don't. Like, damn, I'm forgetting her name, but she did. She was supposed to do the New Gods movie at DC. And she did Selma. I think she directed Selma with Martin Luther King. I can't remember.
I don't know who it is.
Damn. But she's known, like well known, right? For her documentaries. So I mean, I think that's the only thing that's going for this. But besides that, I mean, I don't really have interest. Like I said, I've never even seen the original Aristocats. So, I mean, I do like cats, but I don't know, Disney cats. Yeah.
Myself in Comics says, why is nobody liking the video? I don't know. But they really should.
So hit the like button.
Here's the thing. I did read another article about this.
Right.
Because the Aristocats obviously have the cat characters and then the human characters, right?
Okay.
So from my understanding, it's going to be one of those mixed CGI, like the cats will be CGI and the people will be real, obviously.
Right.
Which I think is going to be weird. Because
Garfield
tried it, right?
So the cats are not going to be realistic CGI looking cats?
They haven't said, but it's probably going to be as realistic as the Lion King cats.
Right.
Lions, whatever.
Which I think is both I'm not a particular fan of CGI animated looking cats or live action looking or realistic looking cats. It just never really works.
Well, it doesn't work because when you do it realistic, then some of the jokes and the exaggerated nature of animated films, like when a character gets hit and his eyes go up and stuff, right? You can't do that. It doesn't look right when it's real,
right? And
then if you make it too cartoony, then you're like, it looks dumb when the real person is interacting with it because you're like, this doesn't look like it. Your brain doesn't process it correctly.
Right. I think it needs to be like somewhere in between, but I can't think of an example of a Disney movie at least that is like an in between. I definitely think the Jungle Book was probably the best example, but then they keep wanting to go for this like realistic. It has to be realistic, and it's like, no, it's a fucking Disney animated movie. Like, why does it need to be realistic? Just yeah.
Especially
Well,
this because again, most of the movie is the cats interacting with other animals and cats and stuff.
right.
So it's going to be a lot of, just the CGI stuff by itself. So if it's too realistic, then it's going to look just boring, right? Like plain, like
Right. But I was gonna say, like, what other Disney animated movies can they do at this point now? Like, I'm like, I had to Google and look to see because this is one, obviously I've never seen it, so I'm kind of surprised. The
there's
Sword in the
several more
Stone.
left. Yeah, Sword in the
Sword in the
Stone.
Stone. They didn't do Pocahontas.
Like we said, the Rescuers, Pocahontas, Rescuers.
I'm actually kind of shocked they haven't done Pocahontas just yet. I know they're doing Lilo and Stitch, which is more recent. That's like the 2000s. The
It
Hunchback of
sucks that they
Notre
waited
Dame
so long for that, though. You know that?
for Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, because they could
Yeah.
have gotten Ming Na Wen, who does the voice of what the hell? I forget the character, the older sister.
Right,
She could have played it in live action, but now they obviously have to get a younger actress.
right. Yeah, Sleeping Beauty's another one they didn't
I mean, there's
do.
a whole bunch. I mean, it depends how.
Why haven't
They
they
haven't
done
done
Sleeping
Sleeping
Beauty?
Beauty yet.
No, they didn't. I'm blown away that they didn't do that. I mean, they're only now doing Snow White, so yeah. I mean, they already did Cinderella. What's
Did they do a
another one?
Bambi yet?
No, they didn't do Bambi. They didn't do Bambi.
They did a Bambi?
No, they didn't. Hercules. I know they're
So
doing
you
the
got that. You
Hercules
got Bambi.
movies.
You got I want to see a live action The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Give us a double feature.
Hmm.
They did Lady and the Tramp, and
Right.
obviously Alice in Wonderland, 101 Dalmatians, Jungle Book, Aristocats. They got to do Robin Hood.
Right, we said Robin Hood. Yeah, I think they're gonna do Robin Hood. That's a one that I think they're trying to. That might be announced pretty soon. Princess and the Frog. That one's again a fairly
Yeah.
recent one.
I think they did a Fox and the Hound, didn't they?
Fox and a Hound. I don't think so. Actually, the one I do want to see out of curiosity. This one is 2000s. Was Brother Bear. I'm not sure if people remember that movie, but I liked that movie as a kid.
I remember
I think
that
people,
movie.
yeah. That one I wouldn't mind seeing just out of curiosity because I did like it. I'm surprised that it has such a bad rating. But
Well, they should do Fox and the Hound. That's very appropriate. You could have
Right.
a left wing fox and a right wing hound, and how they still become friends despite being on the other side.
opposites. I mean,
Because that's what the
Disney.
movie's about.
Right.
They got the Black Cauldron, Mouse Detective, Oliver and Company.
More of these need to see.
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
I never even seen that.
I've never seen it either.
Oh, they got to do Emperor's New Groove. They got to do that.
Yeah, they should definitely do that one. That one again is more appropriate.
Atlantis.
Yeah, I know. I think when we brought this up last week, that's what Blue Jay and George were mentioning. I wouldn't mind that one. I did like that as a kid.
There's a lot of them still. I mean, there's so many Disney movies. Then, of course, for the furries, you got to do Zootopia live action.
Yeah. The thing is, they'll never do Fantasia.
Well, there's too much to Fantasia because it's like a whole bunch of different segments.
Could you imagine just a live action version of Mickey Mouse? They couldn't. I don't think they're willing to push that.
No. Yeah. But for this, I am wondering because the original is jazz inspired.
Right.
Do you think that with Questlove and being in the roots, you think it's going to have a more R&B, hip hop, soul musical stylings, or you think they're going to stick to the jazz?
I think it's
nature
gonna
of
be
the
like a
original?
mix. You're gonna have like that, the soul R&B mixed with jazz, because you can kind of mix the two, right? It's not super popular, but I'm sure with him he would definitely want that. I think if anything, the music will probably be interesting to listen to, compared to other live action Disney movies,
Yeah, well, I
which
think they
I've
have a
never
lot of
been a fan
freedom.
of.
There's
Right,
not a lot of classic songs. Like when you think of the Aristocats, then people are not going, "Hey, yeah, this song and that one," and like because you got
right.
a whole
That's
new
also a good
world for
point.
Aladdin, you got you know, can't wait to be a king for Lion King and all the other songs, like all of it
Right.
of Lion King, pretty much. This is one of them that there's not a lot of like people that are like, yeah, I love this song from the Aristocats, right? It's like
Hmm.
it's a thing that exists. Like I kind of remember that thing. It was a thing. So I think he'll have some
Right.
freedom, at least.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully, it's good
Mm.
or not. You know, we talk about Ant Man and Shazam maybe heralding the downfall of superhero movies.
Right.
I want something to herald the downfall of live action Disney remakes.
Yeah, I think it's that they're gonna run out of material because they know that all the ones that they've done before are very popular, right? Whereas the ones that we were just mentioning, I don't think they're. I mean, they're well known, but I don't know if they're like that popular, right? Where they could probably make easily 800 or a billion, right? If these movies can still do that, right? Because that was pre-pandemic. So yeah, I'm definitely not interested in the Little Mermaid whatsoever. I don't think it will bomb J Cuts. I think yeah, we're not in the demographic where that will do well, but we'll see because I'm sure there's gonna be controversy and all different types of stuff with that movie.
Yeah, I think it all depends on what they talked about changing it, and a lot of times you'll find that they do a lot of blah blah blahing before a movie gets released. Then you watch
Right,
and you're like, that has nothing. Like none of the things that they were talking about in the interviews were anywhere in the movie, right? So
right. It's
we'll
just
see.
marketing and to drum up a discussion. That's really
Yeah.
it.
So I mean, if the songs are good, I mean, she does have a good singing voice, Hal Bailey. She sings
Hmm.
very well, and like I said when we started talking about this, it is weird because yes, Ariel does sing the one song, and then it's pretty much it. Like for the rest of the movie, she's voiceless. So
Right.
it'll be weird if suddenly she's like singing. If ever like someone was suggesting it was gonna be like her brain, like she's singing in her head, and you're just hearing it, and I'm like, you're gonna do that for the whole movie, like just sing a whole bunch of songs out of
Mm.
nowhere. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Uh, and like you
Yeah,
said, we're
we'll see.
definitely not in the demographic. I'm way past that demographic. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, I still like these movies, but like they're not something where it's like I need to rush out to the theater and watch it. No, that's more obviously people with families and people with maybe daughters and things like that. Yeah, not
yeah.
my cup of tea.
As far as the Aristocats go, though, like I said, there should be a lot of freedom for Questlove and the writers to uh, work in some new stuff. It's
Right.
not very fondly remembered. People, it's one of those like, hey, I know of it, but I don't really know of it.
Hmm.
So I don't think anybody, people will be upset. Obviously, they're always upset, right? Like, oh my
Right.
god, they recast the butler as a black guy or something, right? But
Hmm.
all in all, I don't think anybody should be too upset because, like you said, it's not one of their most popular ones. It's not very fondly remembered. It's
Right.
just they're also ran. This is like the Jeb Bush of Disney films.
Jeb Bush of Disney films. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Now, what I do want to see them like Atlantis because again, it wasn't that popular, but I think a live action Atlantis could be awesome or Treasure Planet.
Yeah. Treasure Planet, definitely. I think that's the one I would prefer, honestly. I just, well, the thing is, maybe in a couple years, because I'm sure there's going to be nostalgia for that movie from people in my age group, because we saw that as kids, and that's like a cult movie, right? So I have a feeling eventually we'll see a live action version. Um, I hope, at least.
Yeah, who knows? They're making Tom O'Malley a black cat. What?
Tom.
Well, he's orange. That's the thing too. Like to go back to the Aristocats for a 2nd, when you animate things, you can color them in non-realistic manner, right? Like you can make it an orange cat. That's like you're like, oh, that's not like a realistic orange cat, but you're like, yeah, but it's cartoon, right? So it's okay. So then when they try to translate that to live action, like how Garfield just looked weird because like cats don't look like that, right? They're not that orangey. So it'll be interesting to see. They might actually race swap a cat. Can you race swap a cat?
I don't think you can. So black cat is now black. There's orange cats or orange race. That's weird.
Distant Earth says Heathcliff. I used to love Heathcliff when I was little. It would be like Heathcliff and then the other cats that were like, it was a double feature cartoon. He was an Irish cat, so it's racist. He is. He's Irish and he's orangish reddish.
Well, yeah,
he's like a reddish.
He's
like a ginger. Yeah.
I don't want to.
So he's gone.
Like, is this a dog's? Because my last name is O'Malley.
It's not a dox.
Okay.
I mean,
dox myself.
It's on your channel.
You can put my name.
So.
Yeah, it is on my. It is on my channel.
All right. Speaking of doxes and people's race, we have a Hollywood producer who is pulling a Elizabeth Warren here. Hollywood's top Native American producer is a fake, activists claim. First, it was the Indian gentleman who was crying on the highway over the litter. Turns out he's not actually Native American. He's like a French Canadian.
Oh my
god! Now this lady.
There's a lot of people who do weird shit like this. Like apparently, oh my god, I'm bad with names, of course, but she's from The Office, and she just did that Velma series. What's her name?
Mindy Kaling.
Right. Her brother, for some reason, pretended to be black because it would be more beneficial for his career, because I think he was trying to be a doctor. And there's a couple more people who do stuff like this where they pretend to be another race or have heritage of a specific ethnicity, which, I mean, I understand. Like, I'm not gonna say I understand why they do that, but I mean, you get more points for if you're a minority in some areas, but at the same time, don't do that. Like, it's just really scummy and weird, and it makes other people look bad, because then it's like, oh well, they're using their minority card too. So anytime I hear a story like this, I'm always bothered by it, because it's like, what were you thinking? And how did it get to the point where people didn't really like look into it? Right? Like, it's very weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mindy Kaling is weird herself, because she basically admitted, I think it was on Conan, to abusing her power to sexually harass a fellow actor by forcing him to kiss her.
Oh my god.
But it's just silly. Haha, let's laugh about it. That wacky Mindy Kaling sexually harassing some dude.
Yeah, it's like it is weird when people admit to things that you're like, I don't think you should be saying shit like that. Like, that may ruin your entire career. Oh boy.
All right, so one of Hollywood's leading Native American figures is being accused of faking her claims of Cherokee heritage. The Post can reveal. Award-winning Heather Ray, 56, serves on the Academy of Motion Pictures Indigenous Alliance, previously headed up by the Sundance Institute's Native American program, and claims, "My mother was Indian and my father was a cowboy." Multiple prior news reports have also cited her as having a Cherokee mother. But watchdog group called the Tribal Alliance Against Frauds is now demanding the Academy and the producer drop her false claims, while activists insist she's at best one 2048 Cherokee. It's just like at one point a Cherokee rubbed up against one of her ancestors,
and that was it.
It's about the closest. The group accuses her of profiting from usurping real American Indian voices and perspectives and being a fraudulent so-called pretendian.
Oh, wow. That's a new one.
Yeah. Ray is married to another Hollywood producer, Russell Friedenberg. And the eldest of 3 children is actress Johnny Sequoia, who currently stars in the reboot of Dexter. I didn't know there was a reboot of Dexter.
A Jeep jerk.
Ironically, Ray was already caught up in the highest profile pretendian scandal to hit Hollywood. The producer was thanked by the Academy last year for brokering an apology to Sachin Littlefeather. Littlefeather was blacklisted in Hollywood for appearing on Marlon Brando's behalf to decline his 1973 Best Oscar and jeered as she spoke up for Native Americans, claiming she was Apache. But after her death in October, Littlefeather's sister revealed she was a liar who had faked her identity all along.
Oh, wow.
What is it with people in Hollywood pretending to be Native American?
I think it's, especially here in Canada, I feel like there's some examples where people like may have heard something where it's like, oh, my ancestor was this, right? And so they think that's the case and they run with it. That's like my only guess, because it's like, how could you run with a lie for this long where it becomes your entire career? It's very weird.
56K Warning says, I read that she also mains T-Hawk and Street Fighter and also Thunder from Killer Instinct.
Oh, boy. It's that bad.
Don't forget the Mortal Kombat. Who's the one in Mortal Kombat? Native American character.
I don't remember his name. I have to look at it.
Whatever his name.
Nightwolf.
Nightwolf. There you go.
There we go.
Running Liar is a Native American name.
No.
Aston is correct. He says her mother was Indian and her father is a cowboy. Man, I bet those are interesting dinner stories with the family. Do you remember when Granddad gave your family blankets? This is... But why? This is one of those things that, like you said, like people are like, yeah, your granddad's Native American, right? Like,
right.
But why? Like, why do people make that up? Like, does it make them feel better about the Native Americans being driven off their land or something? It's like some white guilt thing that I don't know.
I have no clue. Maybe I think it's also too like where you would hear someone say, "Oh, you look like," especially if it's like a woman, like their look kind of has a Native American look, but it's really not. They still look white. So it's like, I don't know where this is coming from. It's very weird. Maybe
it's coming from all the people who pretended to be Native American. And so when people are like, you look like that person, but then she was also a fake. And that's why you just look like a white person, right? Like, yeah.
This infinite loop. Oh my God. Of fraud.
Other high-profile cases have included Massachusetts Democrat Senator Elizabeth Warren, who apologized for mistakes, quote unquote, by claiming to also be Cherokee. Tests shown she was 164th and 1024th Native American.
Right. I mean, now, that's the thing, right? Like, now you should go and get a test, right? It's not hard to, swap your mouth and see where you came from, okay?
Yeah, well, she did get a test, and that's how she was like all proud, like, look at I'm Native American. Like, no, that basically proves like a Native American spit on your family one time, and that's how you got the DNA. It's like that low. But yeah, I do think though these like in Elizabeth Warren's case, she should definitely offer some sort of restitution for all the advances that she got and all the push she got for being
Right.
quote unquote Native American.
Yeah, that's also another good point too, right? Because again, here in my country, at least, they give there's laws around things that Native Americans can get. Right, you can be on the reserve, you can get free university, you can get a lot of different things. So if you just claim somehow to, I mean, that's a crazy thing to claim to the government that you're Native American and you're not. Um, it's bizarre. Like
Yeah,
at that point,
Elizabeth
you're
Warren in
abusing
her
the
case,
system.
she got a scholarship,
Yeah, she should.
which
In my
is
opinion, they should. You should repay for that scholarship. That's not fair. That you
well, it
took
should be
that
more
away
than
from
just
someone.
that because the
Right.
scholarship helped her get where she is. Right, without take the scholarship away, and she might never have been a senator. Take away the
Right.
always claiming to be Native American, and she made so she probably owes a lot. There's probably like someone could do the math and be like, okay, so this compounded interest,
Right.
all the opportunities, you owe them 27 beads and a blanket.
Crazy. But yeah, I've never really thought about that. But yeah, that's insane that people could do that. Just, I mean, again, is this like nefarious? I don't know, but it still does
Yeah,
like
well, they're
wow.
right about this. The Tribal Alliance Against Frauds director Liana Costantino told the Post, "Being an American Indian person is not just about who you claim to be; it is about who claims you."
Right.
Because there are the scrolls that they keep, right, of all the list of the families and the members. So if
Hmm.
your name's not on them, you're technically not
Not
Native American,
right.
right?
Right.
And it's much more than just race. We are citizens of sovereign nations. Being an Indian is a legal political distinction. Here's okay. So real quick, because I'm not trying to be racist, right?
Hmm.
But this lady who is in the Tribal Alliance Against Frauds, this is her quote, right? She's calling herself Indian. Are we allowed to do that again, or
Is this that must be an American thing? Because yeah, we don't usually say that here.
well, we were always taught like okay, so yeah, I think it is American. When Columbus came over, he thought it was India. He called the people Indians, and that kind of
Right.
stuck, right? And
Like
then
here
for
we
years and
say
years, we just
natives or aboriginals. And then it depends on what tribe you're from.
yeah, we used to say Indians, and then at some point they're like, no, they're not Indian, right? Obviously, because they're
Right.
not from India, and so they're Native American, and that's what we refer to them. But the lady calling herself an Indian now, so I'm like confused. We're going back to this?
Right. Yeah, it's that's a little weird.
Because those are the people that were the ones that like changed the name, right?
Right.
Like I guess remember when Prey came out?
Yes.
Okay, so Prey came out, and I think it was Geeks and Gamers. It might have been on their website or something. Someone did a review where
Okay.
they referred to the female lead as a squaw, right?
Hmm.
And that was a term that when I was growing up, at least in America here, when we were growing up, they were Indians, and an Indian squaw was like a female Indian, right?
Right.
So we didn't think nothing of it. I guess so. So Geeks and Gamer did it, and they did the article, and it was just like huge, like backlash, and people were getting all excited. I was like, why? They're like, no, that's a racist term. I'm like, what?
Right. I think
Like,
now that might be a racist term. It's kind of like this is another one that has always like been weird, but like chief was another term that they were like, hey, you can't use that. And they changed like positions in companies, at least here in
what?
Canada, because of that. Yeah, and it was like, well, it's also a word. It has two meanings, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that one always was like,
Well, our
I mean, it's
president
not,
is
it's
the president's called the commander in chief.
right, like things like that, right? So it's I don't really understand it, but there is better ways of saying it. right? I mean,
Yeah, but the thing of it is right, like you obviously when I read this quote, right, I was not being racist. I wasn't like
yeah, we
denigrating
get
anybody.
that. Right.
So the same thing that when Geeks and Gamers, I don't like those people to begin with, right? But when they wrote that, you could read it and it was like there was no negative connotation. It was just like a descriptor that they
Right.
thought was like an okay, like they didn't realize that this was a no-no word.
Outdated. Yeah.
But like
Yeah,
the
well,
people that were making such a big deal, I'm like, dude, like it's not like you're making it more than it is. Like you should just be like, hey, this is a no-no word now, just to let
right.
you know, right? Like gypsy, God forbid,
Right.
someone says gypsy or to be gypped. Like those are no words now. You can't
Yeah,
say
you
those.
can't. Yeah, there is some things that I didn't know were like, I'm not gonna like say them here now that I know them, but it's like
You're
I
not gonna
never knew
George
that.
Carlin 13 words you can't say on YouTube.
Yeah, like there's there's like certain phrases where it's like, oh, I never even knew that would had a racist background to it, right? Like
You know what's one that I never knew was a racist background for
right,
years and years. So we used to wear what they call wife beaters, right?
right.
So I still wear those, right? But before we called them wife beaters,
Mhm.
and I think what do they call it? They're called tank tops, right? That's the
Right.
correct
Or
term.
undershirt.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. Yeah.
But before that, they used to be referred to as Dago tees,
Mm.
and I didn't know that Dago was a racial slur for Italians,
Oh,
right?
wow.
I just thought that that's what they were called, right? Because everyone would call them, hey, you go put on a Dago tee, right? Hey,
Right.
he's wearing a Dago tee. So I was just like, oh yeah, you knew exactly when someone said, hey, put a Dago tee on, you knew exactly they meant to take time.
Right.
And then like years later, like I'm watching something and I heard them like say Dago in a negative connotation to an Italian,
Mhm.
and I was like, that's a racist word? And my dad's like, yeah. I was like, then why have we been using it for the
Music.
last like 10 years, right?
It was crazy.
Like apparently we have jaywalking here in the U.S. I don't know if they have that in Canada.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We have that here.
But the word jay in the context of jaywalking is actually a racial slur towards country folk.
Hmm.
They used to call them jays. City folk who didn't like those country bumpkins, like hillbilly.
Right.
Jay was another word. I mean, to jaywalk because they didn't have the education and they weren't used to cars, right? Having
Mhm.
streets. So they didn't realize that you had to, cross at the corner. So they would cross in the middle of the street. So they would be jaywalking. And that has actually entered into the lexicon and is a official law in a lot of places. No
Right.
jaywalking. It's like, wait a minute, that's
Yeah. That's
it's a
a
racial slur.
slur. Yeah. That's the thing, right? I think sometimes people. I mean, with geeks and gamers is like, I mean, we all know how they are, right? But like with other people, I feel like you should kind of like just like don't be fucking mean about it and just tell them, hey, like actually this word is now outdated, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't actually know where the word comes from, and you had no racial or derogatory intent, right? So yeah, I kind of wish more people would just be like, hey, yeah, or just do that. But we know how the internet is and how people like to fucking get
Yeah.
mad and shit. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, from at least personal experience, if you tell someone, if you inform them in a nice way, say, hey, I'm
Right.
not sure if you're aware of this, but that is a racial term. It's outdated. We don't use that anymore. This is the the current vernacular.
Right.
They're more receptive than you going, hey, you racist prick. You can't say that. And they're like, oh, you said I can't do a thing? Now I'm going to do a thing.
Yeah. Then they're gonna double down.
Yeah. We're probably canceled already because I said at least 6 racial slurs in this whole
No,
segment.
man. They're gonna like clip out each one.
Yeah. But
Oh,
I'm
boy.
brown, so I get a pass.
No, man.
Yeah. But this lady here, back to yeah. So being an Indian is a legal political distinction. Ray, who was born in California and brought up in Idaho, is best known for Frozen River. It won both Sundance and Independent Spirit Award and was Oscar nominated. In 2009, Variety named her as a top visionary while noting her half Cherokee roots. Over the years, she has burnished her credentials, which center on a claim that her mother, Barbara Riggs, was Cherokee. She has a tattoo of Sulu, a Cherokee corn goddess, and in 2016 told a New Zealand conference, I grew up in the state of Ohio, which is the Pacific Northwest in the U.S. What does that have to do with anything?
That's a random. Yeah. What is the?
It's not like she's
So
like, I grew up on a reservation or surrounded by Native American. Like I just grew up in Idaho. Okay, like just include that in there, I guess.
Unless there's something we're missing.
I'm
I mean, I don't know
assuming the
much about
Cherokee
Idaho.
are from Idaho. I'm assuming,
Right.
because they're not from California. I don't think. And my mom was Indian and my dad's a cowboy. I'm not conflicted. I mean, there are times it was interesting at home. She
What?
dad
the
used to
hell?
chase mom around the table and try to lasso her.
That's such a weird quote. That's so bizarre. Like, what does that even mean? Like, there was racial tension in your house between your parents? What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Mom was like, "Stop trying to colonize me, white boy." He's like, "Shut up, woman."
What the fuck?
Aston says it was only 6 though, so I'm good. And because I'm
No.
green, I won't get canceled.
No, boy.
Her first car was a Jeep Cherokee, and her second was a Pontiac Aztek, so she's half Cherokee.
Oh, shit.
She joined the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Science in 2016, and her place on the Indigenous Alliance makes her a key figure in Native American outreach efforts. Ray has cited her, quote, Indian ancestry. They keep using that word.
They keep using that. That's crazy. Yeah.
Throughout, and this is not like some obscure. This is what New York Post.
Right. Unless they're doing this intentionally. Fuck.
Throughout her successful producing and directing career, although she is not an enrolled member of any tribal nation. That probably should have been your first clue, right?
Right. Yeah.
She works as a narrative change strategist for Illuminative, an unapologetically ambitious and innovative Native women-led racial and social justice organization, which says it works to amplify contemporary Native voices while challenging the invisibility of Native Americans. Okay, so I've always been confused. I don't know how it is in Canada, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm an American. But I've always been confused by this notion that people who are non-white, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're very strong in their conviction to be recognized for their non-American roots, right?
Right.
It's like we're American. We should be celebrating our Americanness, right? Not
Mhm.
trying to be like, well, I'm Mexican or I am Native or I'm
Right.
of African descent, right? Like it's like we're all American, just like celebrate America, right? Apple pie,
Mhm.
mom, freedom, all that good stuff.
Right.
That other stuff is like bonus, right? Like, but
Mhm.
America should be the focus, I think. Because I'm sure
Right.
in like France, they're like, they're proud of being French. In England,
Mhm.
they're proud of being English. But
Right.
America, we always want to be something that we're not. We always want to be not American, right? It's like weird.
Mhm. Well, I mean, they kind of have that discussion here too, because there's always this argument that we don't really have much of an identity because there's so many people from different parts of the world, right? That come to Canada and live there, right? So it's like, I mean, I can kind of understand that, but I think it's also probably because people know how in the past how America has treated people that weren't Americans, right? Or weren't quote unquote Americans, right? So I think it's like almost like they're moving in the opposite direction
Yeah.
to like compensate for the past. I mean, it's very weird how the Americans do seem to be very focused on the past. That's how we see it, right? I mean, we know that there's probably way more racist shit that the Canadian government has done over the years compared to the Americans, but I mean, everybody knows American history. That's the thing.
Jake Hutt says, tell Cleveland they can still say Indians. Apparently they can. You just got to put it in quotes. I know here in Chicago, like there's literally like like sections of the city like carved up, like that's the Latino neighborhood and that's
Right.
the German, or not German. After World War II, the German neighborhood went away. They just pretended we're not German.
No
But
shit.
she's like, there's the Polish neighborhood, and there's the Lithuanian neighborhood, and there's the Chinese neighborhood. And it's like you come to Chicago and they're like, what are you? Okay, this is the neighborhood you have to go to. Like, you got to live over there.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like that here, but just like way more people. Like there's so many different, at least in my city, there's like so many different people. Where
And
it's
if you're
like,
French, they send you to Quebec.
yeah,
God.
yeah. If you're English, man, don't go to. I mean, some parts in Quebec, like, but in Montreal, it's like if you speak English, they give you shit for it.
Oh, in Montreal.
Yeah, some people just refuse to speak to English people. It's kind of crazy. But
Have
they
you ever
speak
seen that
English.
movie? You ever seen the movie Canadian Bacon?
No, I've never same movie.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's fantastic. It's one of John Candy's last movies.
Mm.
It's where they start a war with Canada and the U.S. Yeah, well, the plot of the movie is the president. He's going down in the polls, and he's like, "Well, a war, would help us. But we have to make sure we could win, right?"
Right.
So they're looking for like someone. They're like, "Well, we could beat Canada." And they're like, "Well, Canada is socialist, right?" They're like, oh, "Socialism's bad." So they do this like whole propaganda thing to like get people to be against Canada,
right.
so they can have a war. And then, so John Candy and them, they're like country bumpkin type, like they live in the city, but like it gets shut down. They're kind of like stupid, so they buy into this whole like anti-Canada thing because they live like by Niagara Falls. So they're gonna invade Canada, and they go like across the border to cause trouble. And it's funny, they're driving in a van with like says like Canada sucks, like go, all this like negative Canada things, and they get pulled over in Quebec, right? Because they're driving through, and the guy's like, they're all like, "Oh shit, we're gonna go to jail," And he's like, "No, you can't drive into Canada with all this on your car." They're like, "Oh no,
Right.
no," they're all scared. And he's like, he pulls out a spray paint can. He's like, "Here." They're like, "What?" They're like, "In Canada, both French and English are recognized as the national language. Now you need to read all those signs in French." And they're like, "What?" So they're just like, they're like spray painting like in French, like fuck Canada and stuff.
Oh my god. Now I might have to check out that movie.
It's good. You guys actually win the war that you didn't even know you were being.
Oh man, it's funny.
Back to this though. And her latest project, Fancy Dance, is a drama about a Native American woman who kidnaps her niece from the girl's white grandparents that premiered at January Sundance Film Festival. It was partly funded by the Cherokee Nation. I mean, she's supposed to be the hero, and then she kidnaps her niece.
What? That's the what?
Yeah, the plot is that the Native American woman kidnaps her niece from the girl's white grandparents. So I'm assuming the grandparents are white. The main character's mother would be Native American,
right?
And then like her sister dies, and that's why the niece is living with, or something, right? I don't know. Either way, sounds weird and convoluted. I would probably have gotten rid of the kidnapping subplot and just like she takes her on a trip, like to explore her Native American roots, right? Like why kidnapping?
Yeah, that's not a good look. At least here in Canada, there's some fucked up shit about kidnapping Native people. So, yeah, that's weird.
Hey, the Flash kidnaps Native Americans and he's a superhero.
No,
This is just true. After publication, Cherokee Nation Business, his vice president of enterprise communications, Brandon Scott, told the Post in a statement that Ray was not included in its funding for Fancy Dance because she is not a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. I truly believe it's my calling in life, Ray said of being a producer, to be able to support and foster the voices and the visions of others. And a sense of what I feel is, really important in terms of stories and the kinds of stories that the world wants to hear and needs to hear. But TAF highlights research which argues that far from being half Indian, Ray has no ancestors recognized by the three Cherokee nations, the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma, the Eastern Band of Cherokee, and the United Kitawa Band of Cherokee Indians. The research includes a divorce divorce certificate from 1969 showing both of Ray's parents, Vernon and Barbara Beebe, listed as white. On her father's side, one ancestor arrived from England and Virginia before the Pilgrims, and on her mother's side, there is scant evidence of Cherokee connection, it says. Man, these people, they dig deep. Census and other records show her maternal grandfather's ancestors all identifying themselves as white. Only one of them, Ray's fourth great-grandparent, Jane E. Lassiter, has a possible Cherokee link, though a claim that Jane's father, Archibald Lassiter, was 1/8 Cherokee, which would make Ray 1/2048th Indian. Again, with that word. But even that's dubious and potentially problematic. According to fake Indian projects research highlighted by the Tribal Alliance, they say records show that in 1832, Lassiter won acreage in Alabama in Cherokee land lottery, which redistributed area throughout Georgia's previously settled by Native Americans. It was only open to non-Cherokees. The fake Indian blog continues. Winning such a lottery is definitive proof of the ancestor not being Cherokee. Damn, open and shut case. Ray and the producer's reps did not return multiple messages seeking comment in response to the allegations, as well as her role in the Academy's Indigenous Alliance. Here's what I don't get, right? Like, this lady didn't just, like, show up one day.
Yes.
Right? So she's obviously been around. At what point were they like, should we investigate? No. Let her get more famous. She famous enough? She hasn't won an Oscar yet. Let her get more. Okay, now do it. Like, what were they waiting for? You would think that as soon as somebody puts an application as Native American, right? Like, all right, start researching her.
Right. So it's the her own company did this, or it was other.
It's the other group, but the other group is the Tribal Alliance against fake Indians or whatever.
Right. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it was like they knew about this, but they wanted to see how long it can go on, just so they could build up a stronger case, right?
Yeah, but that's dumb though, because after so long, people are like, whatever, right? Like Elizabeth Warren, she went for so long, and people were just like, whatever. Like she can't undo the things that she did.
Well, it's kind of like catch-22, because if you do it right before they're even famous, then no one cares. But then it would almost be like most people wouldn't know, because she could easily go to somewhere else, right?
Yeah, but if you wait until she's famous, then you screwed over all those people who deserved whatever it is that she got.
Right. I mean, who knows when they even really figure this out? But yeah, that would kind of definitely suck.
Jay Cutt says America is cursed. It's like it was built on a Native American burial ground.
Well, it is, yeah.
The Academy, which the Post approached for comment, does not seek proof of Native American heritage to be part of the alliance. It includes people who want to be considered allies. I think that a group calling itself the Native American, heritage thing, alliance or whatever the hell, should probably, be like, "Are you an ally? No, you're a Native American. Let me have proof. Let me check." It is important to note that blood quantum minimums and citizenship requirements within the Native community continues to be a sensitive and nuanced issue that is a dark and complicated history. A source close to Illuminative told the Post, "Those within the Native community deserve the space and agency to have these conversations." Okay. I think I know what they're saying here, but they're trying to avoid saying it, right? But I'm sure that there are some Native American women who may have been colonized against their will and have Native American children who didn't know they were Native American, or now, have through the years, were raised alongside white people and then married white people, and then the Native American ancestry has diluted, but that doesn't really make them any less Native American, right? In a sense. So it is a weird thing. Like, it is like, well, if at one point your great grandmother was Native American, and then, like I said, she was colonized against her will, spawning your
heritage,
and you want to identify because you're like, wait a minute, I should, my great grandma is Native American, right? Like,
right.
I guess it's a weird thing. I don't know. I'm not one to decide it, right? Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, if they can trace it back all the way, that might be difficult to do, but I mean, because it would just show up as like a small percentage in your DNA, right?
yeah. But again, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a small percentage, but it's there, and it's there because of you
That
have
one,
it. It's not just
yeah,
like, yeah. I don't know.
yeah. That's an interesting one. I haven't seen people talk about that, but I'm sure there's countless examples of that.
Yeah.
Probably more so than we even think.
This is funny here. Ray's Wikipedia page no longer describes her as half Cherokee or Native Indian. A series of edits by an unregistered user called Missouri222 removed previous claims that she was.
Oh my god!
I just
Wonder
love
who that was.
Yeah. But I love how Wikipedia, like, you could just go in there, right? Like, and just remove edits things. And
Right.
depending on what the general consensus is, right, they'll either leave it or fix it,
Right.
But again, without any proof, right, whether or not she is or isn't, right, this person just went in there and removed it. And they just kind of went, okay, whatever.
Yeah, they just didn't give a fuck.
And that's how you end up with weird and untruthful things on Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you try to, apparently there's a rule, like Wikipedia needs what the hell they call them, sources, but it's like a term.
What, like a first-hand source?
No, it's not a first-hand source, like an established
Okay.
source or something, right? So let's say that there's a Wikipedia page on you, Blinded, right?
Right.
And it says Blinded Braille likes to get up every morning and brush his toes, right?
Right.
And you're like, I don't do that, right? Like, so you go to Wikipedia, it's like, hey, I'm Blinded Braille, I don't brush my toes, right? And they're like, well, sorry, sir, we do not take first source edits on Wikipedia. And you're like, well, dude, it's me. I'm the guy. Like, you're like, yeah, but we can't trust that you're going to tell us the truth. So Bill, who claims that he read in an article on the New York Post that says that you did this.
Right.
Where you go, well, what's the source for the New York Post? Jim's the source. You're like, who the fuck's Jim? Some guy who says that he knew. So the New York Post wrote the article. Now you forever have that on your Wikipedia page.
That's crazy. That's insane. So it's not even really a secondhand source because that person doesn't. I wouldn't know Jim, right?
Yeah,
that's
like
weird.
I said. It has to be from like an established website. So even if like I were to uncover something and put it on my, site, they'd be like, well, no, well, if IGN says they're more reliable than you, so IGN's
right.
And you're like, but IGN's wrong, right? You're like, I have proof. Here's all the evidence. You're like, yeah, but you're nobody, so
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, everybody's sort of told that Wikipedia is unreliable, but I never know that they did such a practice. That's such a weird thing.
Yeah. That's why if you go to the Wikipedia page for Gamergate, despite evidence to the contrary on certain claims, they go with the IGN and stuff. They're like, well, IGN and them are a reliable website. So whatever it is that they printed must be the truth.
Oh, wow. That's insane.
And then if it is a contentious issue, they will lock it, and only hand-picked editors are allowed to change the thing. So if you get a hand-picked editor who doesn't like you or doesn't like the topic or agrees a certain, he falls a certain way on the issue, then the issue's fucked.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's why, like, when you seen when I posted the thing about Shazam 2 where they like said there was a gangbang.
Yeah, that was so funny. Yeah, like, I guess at that point no one was even keeping track. They just threw that in there.
Joshua says, yeah, Tommy Trellerico edited his own page and the Amico page. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And Guido edited his own page too.
Just wow.
All right. Speaking of weird edits, How do you feel about old books being rewritten for modern sensitivities?
Yeah, I already know this one is again stupid.
Agatha Christie's Poirot and Miss Marple's classic mysteries rewritten for modern sensitivities. Agatha Christie is the latest best-selling novelist to get the rewriting treatment for 2023 readers, according to a British newspaper. The best-selling novelist in the world, Christie created enduring popular sleuths Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple, and the Daily Telegraph reports that the new editions of both these series have had original passages amended or removed by publisher HarperCollins. Removed. Amended is already is bad, right? But like removed is like even worse. Like
right.
First off,
weird.
I know everybody loves like fucking Agatha Christie novels and stuff, right? I hate these fucking books.
Damn.
Because even fucking Conan Doyle's fucking Sherlock Holmes shit, right? Most mystery books. I do not like a mystery that I cannot solve. Okay. When you give a bunch of information, right? Because the only information you have about the people and the city and whatever the thing, the situation is being given to you by the author of the book, Agatha Christie in this case, right?
Right.
So she gives you so much information, and then you get to it, and there's like, oh, but actually, this is actually the killer's brother, because you didn't know, because we never told you anywhere in the book that the killer had a brother, right? And you're like, how the fuck was I supposed to get that?
Stupid. That type of mystery is stupid. Yes, I agree.
Well, they do the same thing. Like Sherlock Holmes will say, like, because he knows stuff, right? Like when he does the big reveal, it's like, and you every day you went to the Parliament building at 3:00, and you're like, that was never in the book. Like, how was I supposed to figure this out if you didn't tell me this? This is like key information,
right?
Like he has, like, because he's investigating, he's a real person in the context of the story, right? So he has information and knowledge and things that you don't have, because you're not from the city, you're not in the city, you're not living in this fictional world. Right. So then it's like, it's very, very upsetting. And maybe it's my autism speaking, but I don't like a mystery I can't solve.
Well, this is a side note, but there's a weird mystery with Agatha Christie where she actually went missing for a couple of days, and she has had amnesia for what actually happened within those couple of days. And I was like, how come they never made that into a movie? It seems like a movie or a book, right? Because it's just such a weird occurrence that happened to her. That was the only thing that's ever interested me about her, to be honest, because I don't really care for her books. Yeah. I mean, I like the ideas that she has, the structure of it, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of the mysteries. And the main character. What's the main character?
Which one? Miss Marple or Hercule Poirot?
I think it's Hercule Poirot, whatever his name is.
If you want a funny mystery that deconstructs the whole genre, watch a movie. It's called Murder by Death. Right?
Murder by Death.
And it actually gets all the famous sleuths. So it's got like Columbo, Poirot, Miss Marple, Charlie Chan. Like they're not them, right? Because it's like we can't actually use the characters, but like if you watch it, like, yeah, that's supposed to be Poirot, that's supposed to be Miss Marple, right? And it gathers all of them, and he's for a mystery contest, and the guy's like, you have to solve the murder, right, and to see who's actually the greatest detective. And then one by one, they at the very end, they have like a reveal, and they keep topping each other, like, this is the killer, like, yes, you're correct. And then like someone else comes in, like, no, actually that's the killer's brother, and they're like, it keeps going, and then at the end there's a big reveal.
Oh boy, Ryan Johnson is kicking himself that he didn't have that for Knives Out.
Yeah. For Glass Onion, who knows? Maybe he watching. It's gonna be his next Glass Onion.
I could see a premise like that where it's all these other detectives trying to solve a mystery. That sounds like a Knives Out movie. But yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. So
Voltaire says F Agatha Christie. I agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, Matlock. I don't think Matlock was around when that movie was made. It was like made in the 80s.
Right.
But yeah, watch Murder by Death. It's a really good movie. Funny. The Telegraph states that the digital versions of the new editions were written between 1920 and 1976, the year of Christie's death, include text stripped of descriptions, insults, or references to ethnicity, particularly for characters Christie's protagonists encounter outside the UK.
Mm. I wish we had an example.
We might when we scroll down, but at the very least, okay, they should include like a thing like
Yeah.
edited version on the cover or something, right? Like this is not the original
Right.
writing. So for example, here you go. In the book Death on the Nile, published in 1937 and recently remade for the big screen by Kenneth Branagh, references to Nubian people have been removed, as have several references to non-British characters' physiques. The word local replaces native.
The word local replaces native.
Yeah, so they, in the book they might have said the native people in this town,
Right.
and they're like,
Okay.
no, native is wrong. We're gonna put local. The local people, which is what native means. There's no
Right.
negative connotation in the word native. You are putting like HarperCollins, you're putting the
Right.
negative connotation. Nubian
Right.
people is not negative. It literally means the people from the Nubian.
I think they're trying to say that there's something more implied with native when you read it in the context of her writing and knowing her time period. Which is to be honest, like things like that I think you could sort of just ignore.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right about this one. I think it is kind of dumb that they go back and change a book. Like I was saying they should just put a trigger warning. Like I know that even that would, sounds dumb, but the thing is I think most people can understand that hey, this is not made in our time period and it's not really excusing them anyway. It's just it is what it is, right? Like
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. One, it's not like small children are reading fucking Hercule Poirot novels, right? They're not reading Agatha
Right.
Christie shit. So that's number one. Two, the stories themselves take place in the time period in which it was written or earlier, right?
Right.
These aren't like novels taking place in 2023. These are novels taking place in 1940, 1926, 1905, and shit like that, right?
Right.
So for them, you would be like, yeah, they probably did talk like that, right? You don't think that they talk the way we talk. You think they talk in a different,
Right.
old timey style.
Right.
So this whole thing is just stupid.
It is stupid. It also makes you wonder too, like in like 50 plus years or even more, like they're probably gonna do that for us because there's things that we said that are weird. So it's just like why even go down that path, right? It's so unnecessary and it doesn't you're taking away the context of where it was written, right? Like like I mean people do care that what they said was insensitive, but it's like maybe that should be a discussion point if you're reading this book in a class, right? Like hey, obviously this is the language that they used back then versus now, where it's something to actually learn from instead of just erasing it entirely and being like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like almost like if you get rid of this, right? You change all the books, and like I said, in 50 years, are people gonna forget that like this existed? Like there was like racism. Like hey, there was never no one was ever racist. No one ever said these things, right? Like we were always good,
right? Or that word may come back up with the same context, and no one would know because they were never taught that, right? Because they never saw it in its original context.
We call that a teaching moment. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Could you imagine in like 50 years they use Chat GPT or some AI program to like go back and take our YouTube videos and like, well, we know how to recreate your voice, so we're going to take your videos and all that discussion we had about the racial terms, and like they change it, so I'm saying other things.
You know what? I think that's what is going to happen. They're going to do that with movies first. They're going to go back and they're going to take classic movies that say like, potentially insensitive things, and then they're going to just edit what they said. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. You're going to see that within the next 5 years.
Oh,
Yeah. That I don't like. Just leave it. Just leave it, right? Like, this is not even like, because one time we had this discussion about when George Lucas went back and changed his work, right? And we don't like that he went back and changed his work. But I always feel like there is the difference. You always have to separate the difference, because something like this is just like, what are you doing, right? This is not
yeah.
the original writer, or this doesn't benefit really anyone. You're just trying to like be politically correct in the worst way imaginable. So no, I don't like stuff like this at all.
Here's a question: does this make the original books more valuable now?
Yeah, I probably will.
So it's all a scam. They're just doing it because they have original copies they want to sell on eBay for outrageous amounts of
Yeah.
money. A line in Christie's debut novel, The Mysteries of Fair and Styles, which has Perrault commenting on a character being, quote, a Jew, has gone.
Right, yeah.
And Christie's narration and sections of dialogue uttered by unsympathetic characters have also been cut, according to the newspaper. So just gone. Like,
Right.
this is where like cutting whole sections is worse, because first off, this isn't the original writer, right? They're not like replacing the sections, so you're losing some of the flow of the writing. You're losing some of the
pacing
build,
and potential context and
yeah,
a bunch of other things. Yes.
characterization and everything. Like, you're getting the world building. It's all just going away because you're like, oh, this is insensitive.
Right.
These changes come after similar recent treatment of books by Roald Dahl and Ian Fleming, who created James Bond. Now, Roald Dahl, this one is potentially different, because I don't know if you're familiar with the original version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I know little pieces of it, but I don't know the entire thing.
Okay, so in the original version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Oompa Loompas are pygmies, and they're described as like small African American looking people,
Right.
and so basically Willy Wonka has black people as slaves in his factory.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. So you're like, yeah, that one's a little like, because people like, again, I would think most people like associate Willy Wonka, the movie. They see what the Oompa Loompas
Right.
look like, and they probably like, wait a minute, this is weird. So I could see you having like a not like a updated version, but more of a like, this is a movie version of the book, right? Like,
Well, they do that already, right? There's sometimes they take and it's not really that they're changing it because it's insensitive. It's just that the language, it would be hard to read. Like I've seen like in a lot of philosophy books, they would have to revive it because it just, when you read it, you're like, what the fuck is this even saying?
yeah.
And it's like very confusing. And there's other famous stories, right? Like I'm sure Frankenstein has like a bunch of different updated versions from when it originally released. So this is not entirely new, but this idea of like going in and being like, I don't know about this specific word, right? We got to change that. Those are things where you're like, maybe just, I don't know, maybe, like I said, put the trigger warning or has split the version where it's like, you don't want that inversion completely erased because, again, as people were saying in the chat, that's like a teaching moment, right? So I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of like nuance to this, but yeah.
They're too lazy to put notes in their books. 3 extra pages of notes for these bad words cost them what they do. Just put a little pamphlet that comes with it. That way you don't actually change the book. Like, here's a little pamphlet to let you know that these words are bad.
Oh boy.
And most people reading these books, to be fair, are going to be adults, maybe older teens, right? Maybe. No children. Hey, what's up, Noah? Glad you're still alive. We've been wondering about you. Where the sweaty jetty is. So yeah, I'm not happy about this. I don't like it. I think it's going to have a snowball effect. The older books, because books are a thing that even though it's physical, right, they do deteriorate and crumble over the years. So there is a possibility that eventually, sometime in the distant future, 100 years, 200 years from now, when the books have all crumbled, right, that there's no version of the original script anywhere, right?
Right. That unfortunately does happen.
Yeah. So hopefully they save it on a hard drive somewhere at least. Maybe
digitize it.
Yeah, maybe the not the Internet Archives, because they've actually had a issue where they got sued, and there's a whole thing going on with that. But like the museum, where they like take things and like this is considered historically relevant, and they like save a copy of it.
Right. Yeah. At my university, they used to do stuff like that. Used to go in and take things and digitize it, and put it in the archives. So yeah. I'm sure there's people who do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully there are digitized archives of the original versions of these. Library of Congress. Right. Yeah. That's what.
Yeah. Things like that. Yeah.
There goes James and the Giant Peach. Peach to youth today means something different. Yeah.
Oh, that was another book. I'm sure that I think was recently in the news because they were trying to change it, maybe like 4 years ago or something. There had to have been something because that something I remember.
All right, so since we're going for a modern change, this is like 3 racial stories in a row, but let's go for it. What's digital blackface, and why is it wrong when white people use it?
Yeah, this one just is like, what is going on?
This is analysis by John Blake. This is a CNN article. A good friend of the channel, Peter Pischke, has been fighting the good fight on it. So CNN says, maybe you shared that viral video of Kimberly Sweet Brown Wilkins telling a reporter after narrowly escaping an apartment fire, ain't nobody got time for that.
Great meme.
Perhaps you posted that meme of supermodel Tyra Banks exploding in anger on America's Next Top Model. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Or maybe you simply posted popular GIFs, such as one of NBA great Michael Jordan crying, or of drag queen RuPaul declaring, girl. RuPaul looks weird, by the way. Out of the RuPaul gear, I don't think she should be called RuPaul anymore. Right? No, seriously. No. This is a serious. RuPaul is the character that she played, right? Like in drag. That was her drag character, right? When she takes the drag costume off, that's like Spider-Man taking the costume. He's Peter Parker now, right? We don't call him Spider-Man outside of the costume. So she doesn't want to wear the RuPaul gear. She don't get to be called RuPaul, right? Whatever RuPaul's real name is should be what she's called.
Right.
I'm adamant about that. I grew up. I want my RuPaul back.
Oh, man.
Wild hair, costumes. If you're black and you shared such images online, you get a pass. You hear that? You get a pass. Half of you gets a pass.
Half of me gets a pass.
You get a half pass. Here's a question. Okay, so this article surmises that if you're not black, you shouldn't be able to share black people reaction gifs, and all this shit, right?
Memes of any sort.
Memes. Yeah. So does this also mean that if I'm not a woman, I can't share any of the female ones because wouldn't it be like woman face
or any race? This is why I was telling Tony like this is just. It seems like satire, like someone on 4chan made this up and sent it to someone, and it just.
His name is RuPaul Andrew Charles. Is it? Did he change his name legally to RuPaul?
No clue.
Well, if he changed his name legally, I guess he gets a pass. Yeah. So if you're white, you may have inadvertently perpetrated one of the most insidious forms of contemporary racism.
Get the fuck out of here.
And again, why am I excluded from this, right? Shouldn't it have been like
Right,
if you're
yeah.
not black? It should have just been if you're not black. So I guess if you're black, you get a pass. If you're white, you're racist, and if you're brown, just no one cares about you. Just do whatever the fuck you want. You may be wearing digital blackface. No. Okay. If you were pretending to be black, then I could understand accusations of digital blackface, right? Like they discover that you're not actually a black dude. Like you've been pretending on the internet that you were black, and it turns out you're not actually black. That's digital blackface to me.
Yeah,
sharing
and the thing is, the thing is that does actually happen. There's an entire subreddit that is dedicated to like highlighting comments. I forget what it's called, but it's a hilarious subreddit where you're like, yeah, I don't think anybody believes that you're black. You're just saying this shit just to make, pass off racist shit. It's weird. But anyway, sorry.
No. Aston says yes. He was named by his mother. Roux came from roux, the term for the base of gumbo and other Creole stews. Oh, I didn't know that. I am not misgendering RuPaul because RuPaul is a he. He knows he was what we used to call a transvestite, a man who dressed up as a woman or a drag queen, if you were, right? Drag queens, as far as I know, they didn't think they were women. They just like dressing up like
they just dress up, yeah.
They may or may not be gay too. Like it wasn't like you had to be gay to be a drag queen. It's just like you were flamboyant. Not really. It's an occupation. When he's working, he's RuPaul.
No, man.
As an insert race person.
Yeah. Oh boy.
What is digital blackface? Digital blackface is a practice where white people co-opt online expressions of black imagery, slang, catchphrases, or culture to convey comic relief or express emotions. These expressions, what one commenter called racialized reactions, are mainstays in Twitter feeds, TikTok videos, and Instagram reels, and are among the most popular internet memes. So, if I am to understand this correctly, what CNN is proposing is that white people should not use black memes that are very popular and have helped normalize black behavior, black culture, black expressions, have helped normalize people seeing black people as not lesser, right? Because, hey, I know that person. I know RuPaul. I know Tyra Banks, right? These are familiar faces, friendly faces, faces I love, right? No, get rid of all that. Hide the black people and just use white people memes and gifs. So that way black people have no notoriety and no space in the digital world, right? Like you want to segregate black people into this hole where no one sees them, because I hate to say this, but the majority of Twitter people are probably white, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, we'd have to see, but yeah, I wouldn't put it past it.
There goes every white rapper.
Oh man, Eminem gone, canceled.
Jay Cut says I was a drag racer.
Oh boy.
How do you run in high heels, Jay?
Or is he like driving a NASCAR?
Oh, that could be it.
As a drag, and he's got his high heels on the gas.
These expressions, what we read that digital blackface involves white people play acting at being black. I don't think that's what they're doing.
No, that's not what they're doing. Yeah, that's such a reach.
Says Lauren Michelle Jackson, an author and cultural critic. Oh, well, then obviously she works in an essay for Teen Vogue. Jackson says the internet thrives on white people laughing at exaggerated displays of blackness, reflecting a tendency among some to see black people as walking hyperbole.
What?
I don't think that's a thing.
Like this is so weird, right? Like because one person does it, then it means every white person's gonna do it. Like that's such a super strange. Like I'm sure maybe you could say there's one fucking person that does this, but oh my god.
Okay, so this right here, as you can see, this has a little underline. This is a link.
Yes, yeah.
To the essay for Teen Vogue. Blinded. This article was written. And
yeah, this is where we're gonna
Sunday, March 26th, 2023. This link that they provide, which is the crux of this article, would you like to know when this was written?
Yeah, I would like to know.
This Teen Vogue article here that they're citing is from August 2nd, 2017. CNN has dug up a 5-year-old argument because they got nothing better to do apparently on a Sunday.
Right. This is what I mean. This is some manufactured controversy because no one was talking about this. So you resurfaced some bullshit fucking controversy to what? To spark a fucking Twitter meltdown, a fucking Twitter conversation? Like, what is this? I don't get it. Why would you post this?
Yeah, see, it says if you're still not sure how to define digital blackface, Jackson offers a guide. So again, they're using a 5-year-old article to discuss this issue. She says it includes displays of emotion stereotyped as excessive, so happy, so sassy, so ghetto, so loud. Our dial is on 10 all the time. Rarely are black characters afforded subtle traits or feelings. I think all reaction GIFs, all reaction memes, all the meme of the guys from what is it? The two white guys, the one throwing the chair. What is it like from the biker show? What the fuck's
it? Sons of Anarchy?
No, it's not Sons. It's like where they work in the garage.
Oh, they work in the garage?
Come on. We've all seen it. It's where the father and son are talking and then the dad throws a chair. Oh, fuck. What show is that?
Is it a scripted show or is it a
reality show?
A reality show. Yeah, I know what GIF you're talking about, but yeah, I don't remember the show. Is it like some pawn show or something where they
American Chopper. It's the American
Chopper. Okay. Let me see.
They're being exaggerated. They're loud, and the lady yelling at the cat. American Chopper. See, I just waited. I should have just waited. Right, you got the lady yelling at the cat from the Housewives of Orange County or some shit. That's exaggerated.
Right.
Like that's what the reaction GIFs are for, GIFs, right? And the reaction memes, it's for the exaggerated. No one's like, "Hey, let me post a normal, calm reaction," because that's
right. Well, the thing is, like, there's like memes usually derive from shows and movies and sports and all different types of cultural relevant things, right? So, I mean. Like it would be weird not to use the fucking Michael Jordan crying meme or him saying stop, get help, right? Everybody uses that meme because it's funny, right? So it doesn't make sense. Like why would you?
And you know what? That meme, the stop, get some help. It's not actually over the top. It's not like him being alive. It's just like stop, get some help. And it's actually from I think like a PSA.
Yeah, it's like a PSA, right? But it's been contextualized differently, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's funny. So yeah, this article bothers, and this idea itself bothers the fuck out of me because it's like, so at this point, right, like black culture is only for black people. No one can go watch a black movie, right? And then the black community is supposed to sit there and wonder, well, how come no one else besides our community are watching these things, right? And it's dumb, right? Like I never, oh my god, it just blows my mind that this is a thing, and they want to fucking use this as bait to fucking start a conversation. Like no, stop this bullshit.
Many white people choose images of black people when it comes to expressing exaggerated emotions on the social media, a burden that black people didn't ask for. Do you feel burdened by people using GIFs? I know that you don't speak for all the black people, only half of them, as you are only half black. So you only speak for 50% of black people, but
no, man.
Are you burdened?
No. Who is burdened by fucking using a meme? Like, oh my god, don't use this fucking meme because it It's not even a stereotype. That's the thing. Like, it's a culturally relevant.
It's a thing that happened on a show,
thing.
movie, right? It's like,
right, like, oh my god, this is so like to me, this is more insulting because it is almost feels like you're pushing this, and I don't know how to phrase it right, so this might come out weird, but it does seem like you're trying to segregate the Black community from everyone else, right?
You know what it sounds like to
that.
me? Here's what it sounds like to me.
Right.
It sounds like, because they mentioned that these are the most popular ones, right?
Right.
So they're like, oh, we want this popular thing to only be used by Black people.
Right.
Like, you use the less popular memes. We're going to use the popular ones. Right? So that way, when we see it, we know it's a Black person that used it.
It's dumb. It's so dumb. Because the thing is, because I mean, there are different sections on Twitter, right? Like, there's a predominant Black community on Twitter, right?
I keep seeing that. Where is this? Like, I always see like white people Twitter, and there's Black people Twitter.
I don't know about white people Twitter. I don't know about that, but I know that there's
Twitter.
There's if you go in the comment section, you will see lots of people that are. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, they could be doing the actual digital blackface, right, where they're pretending to be Black, but we don't know. We just see a profile picture with a Black woman or a Black man on it, right? So it's like, but yeah, and they would use memes or they would like dunk on people, and it's I mean, sometimes it's funny, right? But not everybody's gonna see that section. Like, sometimes you'll see it on like now with Johnathon Majors, like if you go in a comment section, you'll see people posting memes about it, right? And it's mostly from people who are Black, right? So
I guess you know what, I don't
not the Marvel, like if you go on the Marvel post about it, like you won't see that. But if you go on like, I don't even want to say Complex, but Complex is supposed to be more Black oriented, right? But there's other Twitter accounts that are more Black focused, and you'll see it.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was I don't check the race, sexual orientation, denomination, political affiliation of any of the people. I just go, look, that guy posted something, and then this guy posted a reply.
Well, the thing is, they make it apparent. It's very apparent, right? Like, once you roll down the comment section, I'll have to show you an example, because like
unless it's like there's a bunch of flags and stuff and like their name.
No, it's not flags or anything. Like, it's just like the way that they certain things that they say and things that are happening in the community, where you're like, if you're not in tune, you wouldn't know.
I'm not in tune.
And sometimes I'm not in tune. I just like see it and I'm like, oh, this is a thing, right? And sometimes it's funny on whatever they're talking about, right? So, but this to me, I feel like again, I don't think any of that section of people would really bring this up. Like, this would probably start a fucking flame war, because it's like it's so dumb, where it's like most people, I feel like, would not agree with this at all. Like, this is just so insane. And like I said, this sounds like something someone created in like 2013 on 4chan and started like trying to get this to the major publications like CNN, right? Because they used to do shit like that on 4chan. So it's like, it's dumb. It's stupid and it's dumb.
Why is Django Unchained like trending on Twitter now?
Who knows?
Either way, this is stupid, but we're going to keep reading. We are your sass, your nonchalance, your fury, your delight, your annoyance, your happy dance, your diva, your shade, your yes moments, Jackson writes. The weight of reaction jiffing period rests on our shoulders. There's never been another reaction gif of any other race. Some may say posting a video of Sweet Brown saying, "Oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire," is just for laughs. Why overthink it? Why give people yet another excuse for labeling white people racist for the most innocuous behavior? But critics say digital blackface is wrong because it's a modern day repackaging of minstrel shows, a racist form of entertainment popular in the 19th century.
What?
Wow.
Oh my god! What the fuck? What?
I don't.
Who was the person who wrote this article?
What's there? Something Jackson. What the hell is it?
Well, the CNN article, because this is from the CNN article, right?
No, this is yeah, okay. This is from the CNN article. So this would
right,
be
because it's not a quote. That wasn't a quote.
John Blake.
Who the fuck is John Blake?
I don't know. John Blake is a CNN Enterprise writer, producer. He's kind of a light-skinned brother.
Whoa. What?
Yeah.
This is weird. This is so weird. Like,
that's when white actors' faces darkened with burnt cork entertained audiences by playing black characters as bumbling, happy-go-lucky simpletons. The practice continued in the 20th century on hit radio shows such as Amos and Andy. Here's the thing, and I'm going to get a lot of probably pushback for this. But minstrel shows were not all racist. Okay,
right.
L. Jolson, who is famous for doing minstrel shows and stuff, he was actually a reformist. He wanted black actors and stuff to get recognition, to be served in restaurants.
Right.
And it is actually his performances in blackface that helped sort of normalize black people and allowed other people to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should let black actors, be in plays and things.
Right.
The jazz singer, again.
Yes, the jazz singer is a good example of that.
That was, the quintessential blackface performance, and everybody's always, in the modern era, they try to contextualize it as a racist thing.
Right.
But it was in actuality the opposite. It was used again as a way to slowly introduce the idea that black people are normal, because you are normal, right? I know it sounds weird for me to say it like that, but it's like, because people are racist, and they saw these racial caricatures, right? And the only way to contextualize it and then be like, look, they're not all these racist caricatures, right? So they still had to do blackface. They couldn't just shove black people out on stage and like hope for the best, right? I hope you don't get lynched, right? So they had to do this.
It was like, yeah, then I mean, you always are going to have the bad examples too, right? Because it's like it was a practice that was done for various different reasons, right? And obviously now we're like, well, why would you do that? Right? Because it's just so weird, right? So, but yeah, the point, right.
Yeah.
That's the point, right? That is.
Bianca says, but isn't the point of blackface was because they were uncomfortable with black people anyway? Yes, but like I said,
yes.
But people like L. Jolson, who were comfortable with black people, they used it. They sort of co-opted the idea of blackface as a negative to slowly introduce the idea that, hey, black people aren't bad. Black people aren't these weird things that you should be scared of or laughed at or mocked.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize it. They don't see it, right? They just go, oh, he's wearing blackface. It's wrong, right? And I'm not saying blackface is good, right? Let's not cancel me.
No, but that's the new. This is the thing that people always skip the nuance. They just go for what's the easiest explanation. It's a complicated history, right? And obviously now, I mean, the thing is, there's modern examples of it that, again, is more complex, like the Tropical Thunder, right? That's the more recent example of blackface with a different purpose. But yeah,
or Soul Man from the 80s.
Yeah,
I don't know if people are familiar with the movie Soul Man, but basically it's about a white college student who thinks that he's being treated unfairly and that he's seeing black students being given, affirmative action and
Mhm.
getting ahead. So he's like, oh, if I was black, things would be easier for me. And he
Right.
wakes up and hey, he's black. And of course, it's a white actor, and they put the makeup
Mhm.
on. But then he learns that it's not all roses and sunshine like he thought. Right? There are
Right.
struggles. There's different things he's got to overcome. The black college professor is extra hard on him because he's like, you have to push extra because you're black. So there is nuance in all of it.
Mhm.
Of course, all that's lost to the internet age.
Right. Remember, a side note, there was a time of when the Punisher became black. Do you know of that?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that is just bizarre, but yeah, I just needed to say that.
This is weird, but historical blackface has never truly ended, and Americans have yet to actively confront their racist past to this day. Aaron Wong, who doesn't, I don't want to assume
Mhm.
anything about Aaron Wong, but pretty sure that might not be an African American lady.
Mhm. We would have to see. We'd have to see.
At least basing on the name. Uh,
Yeah, she could be black, Asian mixed.
there's only one result on scholarship for Aaron Wong. There's no face.
Mhm. And which academic, like what academy is she representing?
University of California.
Okay.
you could have. That was an easy guess. Come on.
Okay.
Aaron Wong is an Asian lady.
Mhm.
She is very Asian.
Okay.
So, yeah. She's full Asian. Yeah.
Mm.
So maybe maybe cite somebody who, at the very least, is African American. Right?
Right.
In
Unless
fact,
they're taking
no,
her
but
academic paper. They don't even name the academic paper.
no, they link it though. That's
Well, what's it called out of curiosity?
the name of the paper is "Digital Blackface: How 21st Century Internet Language
Okay.
Reinforces Racism." It's a
Okay.
2019 article by Aaron Wong. And I'm looking at it, and it's Aaron Wong advisors, Civiato Butcher Carmen.
Mhm.
It doesn't look like she's a doctor or anything, or has
Mhm.
any sort of. It's an undergraduate research paper.
It's an undergraduate research paper. Oh boy.
So it's
A
right.
little
It's not.
bit sketchy there, but
Yeah.
because that means that's not like academic research on like a master or PhD level. It's just
Yeah.
someone wrote that essay and that was it. Turned it in.
Yeah. In fact, minstrel blackface has emerged into even more subtle forms of racism that are now glorified all over the internet.
Mm.
Wong says that digital blackface is wrong because it culturally appropriates the language and expressions of black people for entertainment, while dismissing the severity of everyday instances of racism black people encounter, such as police brutality, job discrimination, and educational inequality. Again, this is a Asian lady who's telling you that black people daily, just every day. Do you get are
Okay.
you like beaten up by the police like every day? Blinded.
No. Well, the thing is, me is being a how do I phrase it?
White
Like I'm a
passing.
very yeah, right. But that this is another thing that's on Twitter. It's like they always think mixed people are not black, but it's like very specific. It's like, oh, your dad can't. If your dad is black, then you're not black. But the thing is, my mom is black, but I came out very white looking. So, and my mom is fairly like darker skin, right? And she's not mixed. So it's like
So they mixed you
I'm
up in the
always,
hospital, is what you're saying.
yeah, I could have easily gotten mixed up, right? So, I mean, yeah, like things like that always bother me because I'm like, that it's so stupid because it's like, well, technically, well, my mom raised most of me, right? Because my parents are divorced. So it's like it's just weird, right? And I know there's in the United States there was the one drop rule, right? But it's like I don't know. It's like when it comes to like race and like black and white, I always think like it's so all over the place, and it's like some people just don't account for other people's experience, and it always bothers me.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you're the real life Tombstone.
Yeah, the real life. Man, that's
Lonnie Lincoln.
Man, a lot of people. I mean, it is I mean, they said it derogatory, but like, I had a friend who would call me albino, and I was like, bro, I'm not albino, bro. It used to piss me off because it wasn't like a joke. It was like he actually thought that, and I'm like, bro, you do realize like a white person can be albino, right? He's like, no. It's like, yeah, anybody could be albino, right? It's a fucking medical condition, right?
Yeah, it makes you real pink. It's not even
Right.
white. It's like almost a pinkish hue.
Right. Yeah. People would call me that. It used to drive me fucking insane because it's like, but then at the same time, they would be like, oh, yeah, but you look white. What the fuck? Like, stuff like that used to piss me off a lot.
So what you're saying is you got no junk in your trunk.
No, man.
Someone counting by guys.
Bye. Bianca's like, I can't.
I'm out.
Just leave.
I can't with you people. So here's the thing, right? Again, I'm not white, right? I get really dark in the summertime.
Mm.
I get pretty brown. I have a brother, right? And one day we're talking. You know, the family's all talking in the kitchen, and he was saying how he used to work at UPS. He said that they were racist, right? His boss was racist.
Mm.
I said, well, how was your boss racist, right? He goes, well, I was going up for this job, you know, for a promotion, and I didn't get it. I said, okay, but how are they racist? He goes, didn't you hear what I said? I said, yeah, you went for a job and you didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
He said, yeah, because they're racist. I'm like, but how? Right? Like, did they say they were like, hey, no beaners can be the boss? Like, what was it that was racist about you not getting this job? Right? He's getting really mad at me. He's like, you don't understand. I was the most qualified. I should have got it, but the boss didn't like me, right? So I didn't get it. I said, oh, so the boss didn't like you? He goes, yeah. I said, so it had nothing to do with your race. He just didn't like you as a person, right? Because you're kind of an asshole sometimes. Said, no, I'm not. He's getting all mad. No. I said, yeah, I am too, right? We're all a little bit of asshole, right? So he's like, no, this was. I'm like, dude, it wasn't racist. Like, you just didn't get the job, right? If they were like, hey, if you walked in afterward and they're like, yeah, it's a good thing we didn't give that fucking beaner a job as the boss, right? You know, then maybe you'd have a thing, or like if he like called you like a spick or something, right? Like maybe, but you're just like, the dude just didn't like me, so he gave the job to someone else. Right? Like that's not racist. Like not every problem that you've encountered equals racism, right? Just because a white person doesn't give you a job or a tip or fucking pat on the ass doesn't make the person racist, right? You gotta calm down with that shit. He didn't like that very much. We ended up getting into a physical altercation.
Oh my god!
And I was like, "See, you have a temper. That's why you didn't get the job."
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, again, I'm a brown person. I'm not really included in this for some reason because I'm not black or white. But I don't experience, like, I've experienced racism. I've experienced people being racially insensitive towards me, as you were. But it's not like an everyday occurrence. Like I don't leave my house and like beaner. Like what?
Right,
dude? Like,
right.
Like it doesn't have like. Have I been called names? Sure. Again, it's not every day. Like, I'm not just like dodging police bullets and like, the cops are running me down off the road.
Right.
They're not rounding me up, asking me for my green card.
Right. Oh my God.
So, I understand that, people have different experiences and, people's lives are hard. But come on now. We all know, like there's no need to exaggerate. Like it's an everyday occurrence. Come on.
Well, this is like the most extreme form of exaggeration, this article.
Yeah.
Because this is like, realistically, this doesn't affect really anyone in a negative or harmful way, right? Like, there's way more problems than fucking digital, quote unquote, blackface, right? It's weird. You know, instead of talking about all the other fucking issues in the world that is happening right now that affect everybody, let's talk about digital blackface.
It's a distraction. But
Yeah.
let's go on. Defining digital blackface isn't easy. In trying to define digital blackface, it depends on who you talk to. The standard for some is comparable to what one Supreme Court justice once said when asked his test for pornography. Actually, it wasn't pornography that he sees it. So even CNN's getting it was for obscenity. It was obscenity. And his response was, I know it when I see it. A response that has been torn to shreds ever since the man has said it, right? Obscenity, pornography is not a thing that should be subjective to your whims, right? You're a Supreme Court justice. It should be a well-defined thing. This guidance might help. If a white person well, there you go. If you're white, you're just racist. Like, there it is. Like, just end it right there. If you're a white person shares an image online that perpetuates stereotypes of black people as loud, dumb, hyper-violent, or hypersexual, they've entered digital blackface territory. They should be like, here are a list of GIFs and memes that are approved by CNN that white people can use, right?
Oh, God.
Like,
but they would never do that. That's the thing, because I don't know if they entirely even believe this argument. It's just there as like almost like a puff piece, like just filler. That's what that's what it seems like, at least.
And yet, even with that definition, it's hard to figure out exactly what is and isn't digital blackface. This is the challenge that Elizabeth Halford faces. Halford, a brand designer, wrote an apologetic essay in 2020 about how she made a meme out of Wilkins. Ain't nobody got time for that catchphrases, and sent someone a gif of the singer Beyonce repeating, I'm not bossy, I'm the boss. I've engaged in digital blackface, Halford wrote. I've laughed at people of color on the news facing horrifying crime and disaster and loss. I've appropriated black trauma as punchlines and peeled their faces off to put on my own and say what I can't say to make you laugh or just because it went viral. The fuck? First off,
I don't get it.
First off, okay, so out of all of this, like the part where she was laughing at black people facing horrific crimes and disasters and loss, that was kind of fucked up, right?
Right.
Like, I would have never, like, if that's true, I would have never admitted that. I don't laugh, like, I laugh at stupid things, right? Like, someone falls down, slips on some ice, and they fall. Like, yeah, it's funny. Like, look at the old dude fell down, right? It's funny. Like, someone's neighborhood gets fucking blowed up by a tornado. You don't laugh at that. So it's like, whoa, you've escalated a little too far, person. Like,
this seems weird though. Like, she's like admitted to her faults, but it's like the whole laughing at the fucking horrific crimes and disasters that are happening. Like, I'm like confused. Like, whoa, what's that have to do with the digital blackface then? Like,
that was just part of her apologetic essay.
It doesn't even seem like, I mean, again, I'm not reading the entire fucking essay, but it's like, it doesn't even feel like she was being apologetic for what she was saying.
Halford tells CNN she was bothered that she overlooked the context of Sweet Brown's interview. The woman had just experienced a tragedy. I guess we find it funny, the way black people tell their story with so much flair, she says. But at the end of the day, one woman's apartment building burned down while she was in bed. That's not why people are laughing. People don't. What she said, in the context of what she said, was not funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Using that clip out of context to play it out other kind, like when it's like, hey, I'm having issues. You're like, I ain't got time for that, right? You put the GIF.
Right.
right? Because it's not contextualized. It's a different. You've taken the context and changed it. That's what makes it a meme.
Right. It was a viral moment. No
Yeah.
one's laughing at the context of the clip.
It's like when that the one guy's like, hide your kids, hide your wife.
Right. Yeah. That meme too. Yeah.
Or even the white one, the white kid, the backpacker who's like, then I hit the guy, pow, pow, pow in the head.
Right.
You're like,
Right,
you could
right.
take that and use that for, because it's funny that he said it, on the news. When people get on the news, they say stupid shit all the time.
Right.
But Halford says that doesn't mean she won't use any more GIFs of black people. She doesn't object to the Beyonce I'm the Boss meme because she thinks it empowers women. She says that as long as a meme or GIF is empowering and not demeaning, she feels free to use it. Oh man,
God.
they're gonna rake her over the coals. Besides, Halford says if she refrains from using any black memes, she runs into another problem.
But hold on a minute. Isn't that dumb? Because you could use a meme that is quote unquote empowering, but use it in a demeaning way.
Yeah. But however,
that's stupid. Oh man.
She says those are the most effective because white people are so boring.
No, my God.
White people never get angry. They never show emotion.
They're just like robots, I guess.
They don't put any spices on the chicken.
Oh my God.
Aston says this is her own white guiltness needing to be vented in order for the black community to forgive her.
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And that too is just like, why? Just why?
I don't know. But white people washing their chicken with dish soap, that's what the fuck are y'all doing?
What? I've never even heard of something like that.
Yeah. They'd be doing that shit.
That's just what the fuck.
And on another note, black people, what the hell y'all doing just eating cornstarch? Just eating spoonfuls of that shit. Yeah. I've seen both of those things.
That's definitely American shit. I've never seen anyone do something like that. Wash your chicken with what? The what? Once you cook the food, oh my God, that's disgusting. That's disgusting.
Yeah, because you're supposed to just wash it with water. You're supposed to just wash.
Yeah, just wash it with water. Right. Oh my God.
Like some people be washing that chicken with dish soap. It's the weirdest thing.
No, that's ugh.
Because it eliminates bacteria and stuff. So,
but you're cooking it.
But yeah, I'm assuming you're gonna rinse it off, right? I'm not like trying to like advocate for it. I'm just saying that's the mindset they probably have. Like, well,
it doesn't even make sense once you find out that you cook the food and bacteria dies on a certain temperature level. Like, what? Like, why would you do that? It's dumb.
Thank God I always follow the white goddess Julia Child.
Oh my God.
It would still soak in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. Jackson, in her Vogue essay, acknowledges it can be hard to know where to draw the line. Now, I'm not suggesting that white people and non-black people, there you go, finally, I'm included. I feel seen. Non-black people refrain from ever circulating a black person's image for amusement or otherwise, she writes. There's no prescriptive or proscriptive step-by-step rule book to follow. Nobody's coming to take your GIFs away. We're just going to call you racist and point and laugh at you until you go away. But no digital behavior exists in a de-racialized vacuum, she says. A white person can spread digital blackface without malicious intent. It's like a virus. Accidentally spread digital blackface. Digital blackface does not describe intent, but an act. See, so there you go. You could even have no intent, but you're digital blackface. You're just bad.
No, my God.
The act of inhabiting a black persona. I don't think that's what it is.
No, that's definitely not what it is. And again, just continue. Oh my God.
Employing digital technology to co-opt a perceived cash or black cool too involves play acting blackness in a minstrel-like tradition. No matter how brief the performance or playful the intent, summoning black images to play types means pirouetting on over 150 years of American blackface tradition. Man. So whatever happened to Sweet Brown? Another challenge with defining digital blackface is that some of the alleged victims of the practice might chafe at being labeled casualties of racism. Consider what happened to the woman now known as Sweet Brown after she went viral. She hired an agent and appeared on The View and Jimmy Kimmel Live. An auto-tuned version of her original video now has at least 22 million views. Sweet Brown did go public with accusations that she had been exploited, but it had little to do with her race. In 2013, she sued Apple and an Oklahoma radio show over using her likeness without permission and producing a song sold on iTunes that sampled some of her catchphrases. Is Sweet Brown the victim of digital blackface, or did she benefit from the exposure? It's a tough question. But in the meantime, if you are a white person who is contemplating using a Hold My Wig gif, you should consider the advice Jackson offers in her Teen Vogue essay to white people who play act being black online. Man, white people, y'all can't do shit no more. Someone should have took her book title name away, White Negroes. Who uses the term Negro anymore?
Yeah, that one's weird. I mean, at least in English.
If you find yourself always reaching for a blackface to release your inner sass monster, maybe consider going the extra country mile and pick this nice Taylor Swift gif instead. Ooh, it's Taylor Swift.
The whitest white girl. Oh my god.
That's not sassy.
I love how they were talking about that the woman in the meme and they were like, "Oh, was she a victim of this?" And then they really don't answer the question at all.
Because they don't care. They probably don't even know what happened to her.
Oh my god. Stupid.
They play her clip on the radio station I listen to in the morning. What if a white person has cancer and no hair? Can the Hold My Wig gif be still? No. Because Hold My Wig, I'm assuming, I haven't seen, I don't know where the clip comes from, but I'm assuming she's in the middle of like, you're going to beat someone up, like Hold My Wig. I'm about to whoop some ass, like when they take off their earrings. I don't think it's like a literal, like, just hold my wig because I'm like going to sit down and eat or something. All right. We got the big one now. The one that the title made it to the thumbnail and the title. So first off, Johnathon Majors is kind of a jackass. Okay. I don't know if you've seen this article.
I guess you got to say allegedly, but
no. This is not allegedly. Johnathon Majors spotted leaving New York City courthouse after his arrest in Freedom Hat.
In Freedom Hat.
Yes, yeah. Johnathon Majors was seen leaving a New York City courthouse on Saturday wearing a hat featuring the word freedom.
Oh boy. That's oh wow.
Yeah, he had a baseball cap, a medical mask, and the baseball cap said freedom, freedom.
What does this look like? Is this, because I'm curious, is this like, because that reads almost intentional, right? Is there pictures or?
Yeah, I'm getting them because there's no pictures in the article, but there's a link to the other article that has the pictures, which is stupid.
Freedom.
It's like a blue hat.
And he's not even, it's not like he's wearing like a shirt with a graphic design so you could see the hat. And he's wearing a mask, right? So it's almost like he's hiding. I know that's like over analyzing, but like to me, the freedom, the hat, that I think that says a lot. Like,
yeah,
if you're gonna wear a mask,
this is the video. I don't. Why do you want to give me that?
If you're shopping for your first
son of a bitch,
then you definitely need our.
Fuck you. You'll get. I ain't watching it. I ain't watching it now. I don't want a freedom calculator. Why do we need a freedom calculator? Fucking ads.
What hat? All I see are ads. Yeah, exactly.
Johnathon Majors' lawyers say evidence exists to prove he's completely innocent of alleged assault. So their lawyer saying that they have video evidence, a recanting, and I don't use ad block. We know that that the victim recanted her statement and that the cab driver also will corroborate statements. From my understanding, she was. It wasn't like he beat her up in the cab and then she went to the hospital, right? They both went home because he was at the house when the police came. He claims now that he called the police. The police have not verified that Johnathon Majors called the police. Right. He said that his girlfriend was acting erratic.
Have the police gave a statement or said something about this?
All they said was that they went and answered a call for a domestic disturbance where a gentleman had supposedly smacked around a woman. Mm-hmm. She had some marks on her neck, and she went to the hospital and got checked out, and she was, not seriously injured.
Right.
And that was like it. That's all they said.
Because most on Twitter, everybody's like, "Oh, she recanted, and this is why we can't listen to women because they're going to slander men and stuff." But it's like the story's not over, and the lawyer is saying that she recanted her statement, but there's no new statement. She never put out a statement.
Yeah.
So that to me sounds like damage control and them trying to push a certain narrative in the public eye.
Well, here's the thing. Again, just from my understanding, it might have changed since we started the show 2 hours ago. Mm-hmm. But the police, and they went, they did their due diligence, and at the end of it, they decided they're going to charge him with several crimes related to the incident. Mm-hmm. If there was video evidence of this not happening, or this happening in a different manner in which he was innocent, as the lawyer claims, if there was a recanting of the accusation, if the cab driver witnessed something different to what we're being led to believe by the victim, or alleged victim, I guess, then I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have charged him with crime, right? They only charge you if there's probably a reason, especially in a high-profile case like this, right?
Well, that was one of the things, right? Where it was saying that she had, in the first report, she had laceration marks around, or just laceration marks, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Which, and I seen people on Twitter go, well, she could have done that to herself, but it's like, it's a bit of a stretch. I never heard of someone making their own laceration marks around their own neck.
Well, Aston says maybe she's into kinky sex. It has to be choked during sex. This is a possibility. However, here's the thing. I want to say this in a way that you guys don't look down on me. Right. But when you choke somebody because you're trying to hurt them, you choke them in a different manner than when you're trying to choke somebody for kinky sex, let's say.
Right.
Okay. So
the law sees it as strangulation. There's a specific way of how you strangle someone.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying when you're trying to choke somebody, you're trying to crush their windpipe.
Right.
Essentially. For kinky sex, you're just trying to block their air passage so they get lightheaded. It's not like, you're not like, oh, fucking, I hope you die, bitch, and your eyes pop out, right? No, you don't go that far because you don't want to kill her during sex. This sounds like a topic I'm not interested in. How's everyone? We're doing all right, Beefy. I believe, it is my belief, based on the evidence presented so far, that he's probably guilty. Okay.
Yeah, this does not look very good. There's something about the story. The story's not out there. We haven't heard her side, which is, again, I think maybe you said that to me behind the scenes, where it's like a lot of the criticism when it comes to allegations like this is, oh, why didn't they go to the police? Why are they just online? Well, she's never put out a statement online. She hasn't been online. We don't know who this woman is, right?
Yeah.
And the next morning she went to the police, and then you also have people saying, oh, well, I would have went straight to the police, right? Like the day that it happened, which, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on, like, are you serious?
Well,
Like,
again, as far as I know, Jonathan Majors was in the house when the police came, right?
right,
So obviously, if this is domestic abuse, domestic violence, um, yeah, he's not letting you call the police. You know,
right,
he smacks you around. He's like, "Yeah, baby, go ahead, call the police on me." No, he smacks you. He browbeats you. He tells you it's your fault, and you go to bed, and then maybe in the morning you wake up before him and you call the police. Like, he's not up yet. I can call the police, type deal.
right.
And the same thing with the recanting. Lots of times, a guy smacks a girl around and then, sorry, baby, I was under a lot of stress. I love you. It's never going to happen again. And then she's like, no, it didn't happen. You guys don't understand. I walked into a door. How many, the old walked into the door scenario. So her recanting, even that isn't like, that's not a nail in the coffin. That's not like a slam dunk. Like, oh, she recanted. Pff, that means she,
Which is what people are running with. They saw that and just assumed. Well, this shows a lot of people don't understand how situations like this play out, even for a normal person.
Yeah,
which is kind of troubling, right? Like, people talk about this whole proven or innocent until proven guilty, right? But then they don't really understand how cases like this work, right? Or procedure, or how it goes to trial and all these different things, right? That to me is a lot more worrying, and maybe because I'm more familiar with it. But like, people just on the internet love talking out of their ass, right? Like, this could be an opening and closed case, and people still be doing mental gymnastics because they like him as an actor. It's crazy.
People pick and choose who they like.
Yeah.
You see it all the time with snitches. Yeah.
Right.
Here's the other thing, right? So I think it's going to be very telling, even if he doesn't get charged, even if this all goes away, right? If Jonathan Majors and this woman are still together, then 100% he's fucking guilty. 100%. Right. Because no man is going to stay with the woman who falsely accused him and almost derailed his fucking career, right? So if this is a false accusation, there's no way. And if he stays with her, then exactly what I said, he is browbeat her. It is domestic abuse.
Right.
He has her under his thumb. I mean, didn't Rihanna, when she got smacked around by Chris Brown, basically like, no, that didn't happen?
Yeah, I think that at first, yes, I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, situation. I mean, the thing is, like, now with all this like talking points about, because there's so many people who are like, oh, false accusations are like a thing. They're common, which is not true, right? Like, like to say it's common is a bit of a reach.
It happens.
Like, it happens, right? I'm not saying that, but like to say it's a common occurrence that happens, like that to me, it's like, no, I don't believe that, right? It happens. We're not going to pretend like, oh, this never happens, right? But I just think it's weird that under this case, this is what people are replying with, like, oh yeah, she was definitely like, I mean, we don't know, but it's like, why would you jump to that conclusion that it's like, oh yeah, this must be a false accusation because she recanted her statement? Like, it could mean a bunch of different things, right?
It could mean a payoff. It could mean Disney lawyers.
Who really knows? I mean, you can go the craziest of craziest conspiracies, or you could come up with like a rational explanation, right? And we'll figure it out once they put it out. So,
but again, I don't think if he stays with this woman, and again, we don't even know who she is, right?
Yeah, we don't.
There seems to be little reason, right? If you're going to do false accusations are a thing. I'm not saying they're not. I had false accusations against me, which I'll talk about briefly in a moment. But usually there's a reason. There's a point to that, right?
Right. It's not just random.
Unless there's some sort of sociopath, right? Usually there's a point. And there doesn't seem to be any point for her to have done this. She's not out on Twitter. She's not trying to get fame. He wasn't like she was extorting me for money, or like, you know, she's only doing this because I refused to marry her, or, you know, like I didn't want to like take care. I knocked her up and I was like telling her to get an abortion or some shit, right? Like there's none of this has come out, right? So there doesn't seem to be any reason other than she believed this happened, right? So either she's some sort of fucking psychotic,
right,
or it's true. In my case, you know, I was getting divorced, going through that, and my wife basically, well, she was still my wife at the time. She told the police that I threatened to kill her. So I got a 30-day restraining order. They just basically like, oh, he said that, boom, restraining order, automatic. Like,
right. And that's probably also too because it was going through a divorce, right?
Yeah.
So, right.
So they just automatic, like there was no like we'll talk about it or let's ask, like investigate. It was just like boom, she said a thing and now you're restraining order.
Right.
Then after the 30 days, or like 30 days, you go to court and then we'll straighten it out, right? We'll have a judge see what's going on.
Look at it, right?
And she didn't even show up to that. And the judge is like, "Oh, she didn't show up, huh? I guess fuck it. There was no reason."
Yeah, then there was no, right. Like but that's the example of where there was a specific reason and there's context of why someone would make a false accusation.
Well, she did it because, you know, we have a child and she wanted custody. And so when we went to the custody hearing, she said, "Well, he hasn't seen his kid in 30 days." Right. And I said, "Yeah, because I had a restraining order that I couldn't go see you or the children for 30 days.
Right.
And the judge was a female, and she goes, "Well, according to the restraining order, you could have had supervised visits with the child, right?" I said, "Yeah, but my lawyer advised me not to even pursue that because of the restraining order."
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, well, you probably should have because it would have showed that you wanted your kid." I'm like, "You guys really make this shit difficult, don't you?"
Right. Yeah. I mean, they will go through loops and mental gymnastics. I feel like that's what the fucking legal system is at its core sometimes.
Yeah. Aston says that's what I'm saying. For domestic violence, 78% were dismissed or declined for prosecution because victims would not cooperate. It's because it's almost
There's a lot
Stockholm.
Of different things.
It's like a Stockholm syndrome. And again, like there is you and this person, you know, you have an infatuation with each other, love, whatever you want to call it, right? And it you know, the first time it happens, it's like, oh, you know, oh, you don't want to believe that that's who he is, right? You don't want to believe that that's what the person is about. You're like, oh, he must have been drunk or stressed, or I did something. It was my fault that this happened.
You try to rationalize it.
So that's why that happens. And you see it all the time. That's why it's always like the poster, you know, the first time he was drunk, the second time you upset him, and the third time you're dead, right? It is a difficult, and that's the other thing. You know, if you have kids, that makes it even more difficult because then people are like, you know, you don't want the kids to grow up in a broken home. You don't want them to think bad about their father or mother, right? It could be the woman.
It could be,
smacking people around, right? So there's all kind of reasons, and in this case, it might be because, you know, she doesn't want to be the person that derailed Johnathon Majors' career, right? Maybe he talked to her. Maybe they said, hey, you know, Jonathan's very sorry for what happened. You know, he wants to put this behind him. You know, it's never going to happen again. And you realize that if you go through with this, you're going to ruin his career over one mistake. You're going to ruin his life for one mistake. You know, he's Kang the Conqueror. He's going to be in all these movies, make all this money. You got to throw all that away, all this lavish lifestyle that he's going to give you, right?
Right.
For one little mistake. All you got to do is recant. Just recant. No one even knows who you are. It'll be fine. Not saying that that's what happened. I'm just offering a scenario in which she could be part of the 78%. Again, this does not look good. From my reading of everything, again, police went, investigated, saw marks, talked to the lady. I'm imagining they had to have gone, talked to the cab driver, saw the video, right? You know, the lawyer's like, I got video proof that, you know, he's innocent or whatever, right?
Right. But that's that anybody who's aware of a defense attorney. Like they're going to do that with their client. They're going to fucking damage control for them. Especially at this level of like, this is a public figure, right? Where it's like there's already repercussions, right? They removed, he was in like army ads, right? For the US government. So they removed that, right? And people are like, oh, they're canceling him already. But it's like, I always think canceling, and that's why the last time I was trying to argue this, like there's like some complexity to it. Sometimes it is bullshit, right? But
Yeah.
like a situation like this, it's like this doesn't look good and no one knows, so why risk it, right? So it's like, why do that? And they were even doing that with Justin Roiland, where you're like, yeah, we don't really know, but it's like maybe we should just wash our hands
Err
because
on the
this
side of
may
caution.
right. And that's the way I see it. I know other people are like, oh, they want to cancel him and they had it out for him in the beginning and blah blah blah, but it's like you never really know, right? Like if this happened to me, and I wouldn't obviously do shit like this, right? I wouldn't be upset that they were doing this, right? Like it would be like, well, yeah, this is expected. But that's just how I see it.
It's because you're a strong black man trying to take you down, Blinded.
And people make that's what in the fucking community on Twitter, that's what they're trying to see. Oh, they're trying to take down a black man who's rising to power. And it's like, bro, like if he's a abuser, like, no, like what the hell? Like you're gonna back him just because he's a popular black rising actor? Like that's so like, come on, like yeah, that stuff bothers me.
And in the case of Justin Roiland, while the one accusation has been recanted, I don't know if it was proven false or just recanted.
Right.
He still was saying some kind of weird shit to some underage people on DMs, right? That's still like a thing that it happened.
Right, yeah.
A big black man with a strong backhand.
Oh, man.
People who do these things really cancel themselves. Yeah, that's true.
I agree.
Right. And I think there's a difference between canceling somebody and getting, reaping what you sow, right?
Right.
It's like Johnathon Majors should be allowed to earn a living, right? No problem. But people, he should be able to work at McDonald's, right? We're not saying, hey, Johnathon Majors can't work at Walmart.
Right.
Like to have him be the face of your Marvel, that's probably a bad look, right? Like that's a thing.
That's a totally different from working from McDonald's and Walmart.
Yeah, but like some people are like to be like, oh, you don't want him to earn a living. Like he doesn't have to. Like he's not owed. He's not entitled to a movie career, right? He's not entitled to a rap career or a football career or any sort of
luxury status. Yeah.
Right.
No, I agree with that. Because then at that point you can make the argument for everybody, right? Why don't I have a fucking acting movie career, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
No one's entitled to these things. And yes, do some people have false accusations? Sure. That's 100% true. But a lot of these people don't have false accusations. Look at Roman Polanski. That motherfucker should be locked up.
Yeah, except he fled the fucking country. Like, that's just crazy. But yeah, people are simping hard for this guy. Like, it's almost like, and this is why it's like you never simp for these celebrities, or like, you know what I mean? Like, they are who they are. You may like their work, but like, don't get involved where all of a sudden now your whole fucking personal online identity is like simping for this guy, because there's so many people who are simping. They're posting memes about him. He even has that article where he's like in a dress and he's like wearing pink and all these things, right? And he's talking about like things like that. Now you're almost like suspicious of like, what were you actually trying to push there now, right? Like, I don't know. It's a bit weird.
Yeah. So I think Marvel should at least pump the brakes on the whole Kang thing. I know they said Kang wasn't going to be in all the movies, even though it's leading up to the Kang Dynasty or whatever.
Right.
So they might be able to just ride it out and wait to see what happens.
Well, what happens if because this is another like side. I mean, we haven't gotten to this point, but let's say this was somehow dropped, right? And it couldn't go forward. Like what then? Like, because this is another thing that I see people say, like, oh, if this is all dropped and this doesn't go through, it doesn't go to court, then he should definitely get back his job, right?
Well, he hasn't lost his job yet, as far as I know, except for the army
Right,
ads
but
were pulled.
with the army ads and stuff, right? But like if that does happen, like they drop him, let's say in a couple weeks, right? Should he get back his job if the charges are dropped? Because this is another thing that's happening with Justin Rowan, right?
This is a hard question because we would like to think that if you're proven innocent of anything, right? Even
Right.
and not just charges drop, but like there's a difference between not guilty and innocent, right?
Right.
So even if you're proven innocent, you would like to think that your life is supposed to return to how it was before, right? But that never happens.
Right.
I don't know if you ever seen the movie Apt Pupil.
No, I've never seen that one.
Okay, so the movie is basically there's a high school student, and he figures out that the German guy in the neighborhood is actually a war criminal.
Right.
He fled Nazi Germany, so he starts hanging out with him and trying to learn and figure out why he would do the things, and in the process, he kind of starts picking up the habits and stuff from the old German man.
Right.
And eventually, one of the teachers at school figures out that the German guy is a war criminal, and they report him to the authorities, and they come fucking take him away, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the teacher's basically telling him, "Hey, I got to report you to the school because you had brought him in to pretend he was your grandpa, right?" And the kid tells the teacher, he goes, "You're here on a Saturday when my parents aren't home, right?" Mm-hmm. He goes, "I'll just tell him that you're, a Chester." Mm-hmm. And the guy's like, he's all shocked. He's like, "What? Why would you say that, right? That's not true, right? I'll be proven innocent." He goes, "Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're proven innocent, because we both know that just the accusation will ruin your life."
Right.
And that's how reality is, right? Just the accusation. Is it right? No. But that's why we really need, if you want false accusations to go away, there need to be repercussions for people who make false accusations. And then you'll be able to move forward, and then we'll be able to be in a society where if someone is falsely accused, you see that there's repercussions for the other person,
right?
And then this guy can have his life restored back to pre-accusation.
Right.
But until then, it's basically like, does Marvel want to take the chance? If online discourse says, "Hey, we don't want this guy," then is it any different than if online discourse said, "Hey, we just don't like actor that you picked for Brie Larson"? If they decided right now to drop Brie Larson, said, "Hey, online discourse says we don't like Brie Larson, so we've dropped her from Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. She's no longer playing the character, right? Should she get her job back? She'd be like, "Oh well, it's not fair because people online don't like her, right?" No, we'd all be like, "Whatever, right? She lost her job."
Right.
So I think it's the same way. Like if online discourse is like, "We don't like this guy," and even if it's based on something that's not true, well, then I think it's like, well, boo-boo for him, right?
Right.
Well,
I think, I mean, you make an interesting point, because there are, I think and especially the example they use, that if you're associated with a certain crime and the crime is like really bad, like domestic abuse being a pedo, and or even murder, right? Like those are the ones that I feel like so many people are like, well, I don't know, right? Just because like there is a possibility that you still did the crime, but there just wasn't evidence to show that you did, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like this very weird line, and I feel like with him, you're like, there's already people coming out and saying that he is like this abuser and stuff, like on set, like verbally abusing people and sort of being just like an asshole, like more of an obnoxious asshole than people usually or actors are on sets, right? Because they can be assholes, right? So it to me, it's like, well, if that's that there, and then if this gets dropped, then people still feel like there's a chance that he did do something like this, right? And the person who put out that statement, they didn't know that it was domestic abuse. They actually thought he got into a fight at a bar, right? And so a lot of people were attacking that person because they were like, "Oh, you're just like jumping on a bandwagon, right?" But what they said, I mean, they said it in a way that like I'm gonna have to believe them, right? It's like they were reactionary, but they just didn't do the research, right? So there has to be some truth to what they're saying, that this guy is more of a vicious, antagonistic person in the way that makes people more uncomfortable than that's accepted, right? So it's like I don't know. I really don't like the fact that people are just constantly simping, and like we even have people in our space that are just like posting every second of like, oh, the recanted, and it's like you read, because I read it, right, and it's like, okay, well, first off, there's no statement, we didn't see her statement, his lawyer saying that, and there's all these different, and you're like, just wait until something happens, right? Why are you trying to go on the defense, right? And it was the same thing with Ezra Miller, right? Where it's like all these people were like, "Oh, he did this, or this is coming out, and blah blah blah," right? And it's like, again, this weird culture with these celebrities. Like, people got to stop doing stuff like this, right? Because it's like, first off, it's annoying. But what I think is scary is that they're going to take that, what they see here, and apply it to someone that is not a celebrity, right? Or someone that they know, or someone that's in their community. And that ends up affecting everybody.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that's the part that makes me very fucking just like, oh man. No,
Yeah, well, we've seen people in the YouTube space, in the entertainment, what do you call this, pundit space,
right,
where they say things or accusations are uh, made and then recanted or changed or whatever have you,
right.
and suddenly like this person can no longer do wrong. Like it's like no, just because one
No,
person falsely accused them doesn't mean anyone else is falsely
right.
accusing them, or just because they got off on one thing or got away with one thing, doesn't make the person untouchable.
Hmm.
And again, we'll see. Like there's going to be more people coming out. It looks like a couple of directors came out, but then they deleted tweets.
Yeah,
I don't know if there was pressure. It sounded like there was backlash from the Twitter mafia, so they're like, "Oh fuck, it's not worth it."
I think that's what it was. I genuinely like. There's no like you see the follow up tweets. I don't know if there's an article about it, but I did see that the guy, he like locked his account, and he put out a statement saying like he wasn't aware of how serious the situation was, and then people were attacking him, right? Because they're like, "Oh, so you're just jumping on the bandwagon." But it was more so like he didn't actually aware to the extent of how bad the situation was, right? He thought it was a different, entirely situation where he just beat up a guy,
Yeah,
right? So yeah, I don't think that really discredits him at all, right? And he put out that statement long before this even happened, right? He was like hinting at a well-known actor who's rising the ranks that is just a piece of shit, right? So
yeah,
who really knows? And no one's coming up. You notice too, also, right? If he was this saint person, right? I'm not saying that this should happen or always happens, but there's a bunch of people that associate with him, right? Like Michael B. Jordan, and they haven't said anything, right? They're just like keeping quiet, which I know that doesn't say anything, but it just like, if he really was innocent, right? In the public eye, why hasn't someone come to his defense, right? Because I
yeah.
mean,
It's
it
weird.
tends, yeah,
You had like Jesse Smollett. He came as soon as he said a thing, like everybody was out there like backing him up. This guy, I
right,
haven't seen anybody back him up. So
right,
that is telling. No, if he's guilty, that's the big question. Let's say he
yeah.
gets
Let's
found
see,
guilty.
right,
What happens now? What do you think Marvel should do?
yeah. This is obviously going into the entertainment side. If if let's say he's found guilty, and I mean that's going to take a while, right? But to me, I think that this is their excuse to now delay everything. This is what they're going to have to use and say, because of this, blah blah blah. I don't know if they'll put out a statement, But it's like you specifically cast this actor because he could be in both a movie and television, right? He wasn't a well-known actor of any sorts, right? And so you put this guy as your face of the next several phases, right? He was the next Thanos. You now have to basically just redo. I don't think they're going to redo Kang, but you're going to have to put the brakes on something, because this also would make them sort of a hypocrite, I feel like, where it's like, oh, there's this controversy, you can't use that actor anymore. And I know they recast William Hurt, right? But they didn't recast T'Challa. Yeah, they didn't recast Chadwick, right? So it's like, oh, so if he gets recast, what are people going to say, right? Because this is a black actor as a black character, even though he's not a black character, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
This is gonna just be more problems for them. Like, people are going to pick at Marvel at every angle if that happens. But I could see them just recasting, and maybe even potentially just like they're gonna have to change who Kang really is, right? Like, it may just be the Beyonder at this point, and it's not really Kang, right? Maybe you'll get the Kang dynasty, but and this is what we had as a theory anyway, but like, the Beyonder will just be more of the face of it going forward, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're so deep into this, right? Like, I'm like, people associate him with the character now. There's right? Like, am I crazy for saying that? Like, there's a post-credit scene. He was in Ant-Man. He's going to be in Loki.
Well, the post-credit scene in Ant-Man is, well, there's two of them, right? So the Loki one is not really a post-credit scene so much as
it wasn't right
a scene from fucking Loki season 2.
Yeah, that they just stuck in there.
Yeah. But the other post-credit scene with the 3 versions of him, yeah, I see them. He is associated with Kang. He is Kang. But I do think that if they get an actor who's similar in features, right? More or less, like, obviously, we don't want someone who, looks totally different from him, because then you won't get it. But if you get someone who's similar in shape and build, you might be able to, like,
get away with it.
Push off the association onto the new actor, as long as he does a good job, he nails the role.
Right. Well, it makes me even wonder, like, what actor would want to even sign up, knowing this controversy, and then also knowing that Marvel is sort of like there's all this problems with it story wise, where you're like, well, do I really want to be the second guy to come in and help them because they're having multiple different problems?
Well, I don't know about anybody else feels, but if I'm a lower tier actor who this is a huge break, right? You're going to be the face of the fucking franchise. I'll take it. Ant-Man 3 flop. Not everyone saw it. Yeah, it's true.
Right. Yeah, but even that, like, his face is prominent on the poster. Like, it's more of a marketing for him as a villain than it is an Ant-Man movie, right? So, and the thing is, they're already doing damage control. They put out, Secret Wars is it was like leaked, right? Secret Wars is coming out in June, and they said, Liv Tyler's coming back in Captain America 4.
Yeah.
So, like, they are aware that this looks bad on them, and also too, like I said, if he's not found guilty, right, I still think we know that they're going to recast him, because what actor is going to want to work with him on set, right? He's the main villain. Everybody has to now interact with him.
And he can't find any women. That'll look weird.
Right. Yeah, that's also a good point too, right? That would just be like,
what if, now I haven't seen Ant-Man, but apparently the Kang and Ant-Man dies, right?
Yes. That one version of Kang.
That version dies.
Who knows really though, but yeah.
But we're assuming he's assumed to be dead, right? I haven't seen Loki, obviously, but what if that version of Kang also is, by the end of the season, he's gone, right?
Or Victor or Timely, if not
Yeah.
other variants,
So what if they just push off Kang Dynasty? Say, you know what, we're gonna push Kang Dynasty off to the end of phase. What are we in now? 5?
Yeah, 5.
What did we say? We're gonna push off Kang Dynasty to the end of phase 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna assume that Kang is dead, right? And we'll bring in the Beyonder to be the new threat. So this phase will be like, oh, this was a small phase. Kang's dead. Now here's the Beyonder for the next 2 phases. And then when the smoke is cleared, then we'll go back to Kang and do what we were going to do originally.
I mean, but then
I'm not saying it's ideal.
Yeah,
right?
It's not ideal. But it almost feels like they would be admitting to some.
Well, I'm saying if he's guilty, like if he's was found guilty, or he's found if he's arrested and charged, it is pretty likely that he's going to be found guilty.
Right.
Even if it's a slap on the wrist, even if they're like he's a first offense, here's a fine and go seek.
Well, yeah,
help.
it's a domestic. Well, he assaulted her, strangulated her. That's not really a good look, right? Like it's not like Mel Gibson, where maybe you could be like, or Wesley Snipes, right? Because he committed fraud. So
was it fraud or just failure to pay taxes?
I think it was. It might have been multiple things, but I thought one of them was fraud. But yeah, maybe I'm misremembering or something.
But even if it was fraud, it's like it's not physical, right?
Right, it's not physical, right? Yeah. Like this is a little different. I don't really know what they're gonna do. I think to be honest though, like this and Victoria Alonso leaving and all this other bad energy. I don't really like to say stuff like that, but it does feel like bad energy, like all these different things, right? Like all the criticisms that they've been getting on the bad scores, the low box office. This is not a good sign for them. Something's gonna drop. Like
F them taxes on with Snipes.
No, man.
Johnny Depp was never arrested for a situation with Amber Heard. This guy got arrested. It's not looking good for him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And look at the way people acted with Johnny Depp.
And Johnny Depp lost the fucking franchise, the Pirates franchise.
Right.
And not just the Pirates, but the Harry Potter one. What the hell was it? The Fantastic Beast.
Fantastic Beast, yes.
And you could argue he was in the same position. In Fantastic Beast, he was, the main villain. He was set to appear in multiple movies. He's the main star of the Pirates franchise, right? He's the reason everyone watches those movies. So
then that might be. Well, here's the thing, because I think a lot of people. I haven't seen those movies, but from what I remember on the discourse was that people were pissed off about the recasting because they didn't feel. I'm totally forgetting that actor's name, but he was in Rogue One and
Mads
Mikkelsen, right? They didn't really think he was like a worthy replacement, and that also dragged down the movie. Where it wasn't. I think it did okay, but it wasn't like great by any means. I have to look at the box office again. Whoa,
part of the problem was in that movie, Johnny Depp gets replaced, right?
Right.
However, Ezra Miller was not replaced.
Right, Ezra Miller was in that too, right? And wasn't he the villain too?
Yeah, that was part of the problem because it was like people were like, "Wait a minute, you're just firing Johnny Depp." But Ezra Miller is being accused of a whole bunch of shit too. Why is he still in the movie?
Right.
So I think that pissed off a lot of people. And that second one wasn't that good anyway. Like I saw the first one, the premise that I was promised, right? The Fantastic Beast and where to find him. You're like, oh, it's gonna be a bunch of fucking creatures, and I'm gonna see like these weird things. And it's like, no, none of that was the movie was. And I was like,
yeah, I haven't seen any of those movies. I just wasn't interested.
But again, like I said, he did lose 2 franchises. So this guy being, hey, sorry, gotta get recasted or different direction. Marvel definitely can't just stop making, you could stop making Pirates or Fantastic Beasts, but you can't really put a break on a multi-movie franchise, universe,
right?
Because this guy was acting a fool. So
Right. It also makes me wonder how much work that he's done so far outside of Loki, right? Because I assume they've shot other things, cameos or little tidbits, where now all of that has gone down the drain, right?
well, they said, like I said, they were pretty adamant that Kang is not going to appear in every project between in this phase. So
Right.
so in the Captain America, he might not show up at all. He might not even be referenced, right?
Right.
He's there, but as far as the context of the movie, like he's not even mentioned, or doesn't show up. So he
Right.
might not have filmed that much, yet.
Mm-hmm. But even then, that means Loki season 3 that's going to get delayed even more, right? If they do a season 3, which I assume they would.
Yeah, or they might have to delay season 2 so they could reshoot the ending, or
Yeah, I- that's
depending
also
on,
another
how it
thing too.
ends, right?
Right.
But I definitely think if he's guilty, definitely should bounce his ass off the franchise. If he's not guilty, that's a tough one because there's still going to be the discourse around it. There's still going to be, if he doesn't get
Well, even
booted,
if he's not guilty, if he, let's say he still goes through the procedure, they're still going to have to recast him, right?
yeah. But what I'm saying is, even if he's not guilty, right? People are going to point to the Johnny Depp situation, like I brought up. They're going to be like,
Right.
"Oh, just the accusation was enough to get Johnny Depp removed. Why is this guy not suffering the same fate?" And they're both Disney franchise, or no, the one was a Disney franchise.
Right.
The one was WB.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna be like, well, you took Johnny Depp off of Pirates. Why would you not take this guy off? Right? Why is he special?
Right.
There's gonna be the whole like he's getting away with it because he's black. If he was a white guy, he would have suffered consequences. And then
Mm-hmm.
if he gets it taken away, it's gonna be the opposite. It's gonna be like, oh, it's only happening because he's black. If he was a white guy, he would have got away with it.
Right.
So the discourse is going to be crazy for the next couple of months. But again, even with that, right? So that now you got to go look at it from a marketing PR standpoint, and he's going to be nuclear no matter what happens, right? People are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So is he just too much trouble at that point? You're like, look, you're innocent or you're not guilty, right? But you're just too hot for fucking Marvel right now, right? You're too hot for us to have you as part of our franchise. Them the breaks.
Right. Yeah. They're gonna, regardless, they're gonna have to do something. They're not just gonna sit and not do anything. But they must be pissed, right? Like,
oh yeah, they gotta
they
be
must
pissed.
be so fucking pissed off. Like,
Weston's probably pissed too, Michael B. Jordan, because they're from what we read. Remember, they were going to spin off a bunch of Creed stuff into his own universe, and he was probably
not just that. You should have seen what he said. He said he's going to be my Al Pacino to my Robert De Niro. That they were going to do all these other movies together.
Damn.
Yeah, it's that bad. Like,
I didn't see that, but damn.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. I'm like, if your right hand buddy is not even saying anything about this, like, there's something fishy going on, right? Like, maybe he doesn't even know.
Is that going to affect Creed 3 box office? No, I think it's pretty much.
It's been like 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Like, but whatever he's he's got a movie that was supposed to be nominated or be like Oscar worthy. I think it's like Magazine Dream. It's like this bodybuilder movie. They're gonna have a hard time now
marketing
that, and definitely it's not gonna be Oscar worthy.
Well, they might shelve it then.
Yeah. I don't know what other projects, because he's been in now like 3 movies within like less than 5 months, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what else he's got on. It's going to be off the table anyway. Who knows?
Like I said, he's probably going to be too hot, and they're just going to have to wash their hands of him,
right?
Irregardless of what happens.
Well, another thing too that is just crazy is that they put so much like they try to push this guy everywhere, and it kind of confused me because it's not like he's not like a great actor. Like he's not Denzel, but like that's the way people are talking about him. Is like, oh my god, he's the next Denzel. It's like, no, even his performance as Kang, I felt was like, man, what is this? Like, why is he acting this way? Like, I don't know. That's just my take on him. I just never really cared all that much.
I thought he was pretty good as the one who remains in Loki. I haven't seen Ant-Man 3 yet, so I don't know how he does there.
I don't know. He's not like blowing me away where it's like, we got to put this guy on everything. He needs to be in every single big upcoming movie. Just stick him in. It's like
he did come out of nowhere.
Yeah. He really
well, now we know why, because the guy said he's basically been an asshole and a mean person on set. So there's probably been casting directors and stuff being weary of him, and Marvel just wasn't aware of this.
Well, also, it wasn't just the directors talking about how he was an asshole. It was his own school. Like apparently he has a bad reputation at his own school where he graduated from. So that's not a good look. Like the fact that there's potentially professors telling their classmates about or their students about him, like that's definitely happening, right? So it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, if you smack around some woman and you get accused blinded, I'm gonna fire you. Get fired immediately. We'll put out a statement.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'll put out a statement saying the actions of blinded Braille do not represent the geek getaway. We do not slap women with a open palm, back of the hand only.
Man. At least he can play a proper villain, I guess. Oh boy.
Well, that's all I got. It's been 3 hours, just about.
Damn.
I think we dragged this on long enough. But we didn't really answer the question: does Kang have to choke a bitch? Probably not. Probably not.
No. Definitely not. No.
If a slap is a must, you must acquit. Yeah.
What's this? Where are you getting that from?
As a teenager, Majors was arrested for shoplifting, suspended from high school for fighting, and at one point he lived in a car while working 2 jobs after being kicked out of his house. Probably Wikipedia.
Someone just updated that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Wild.
But all right. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Share it with your friends. Not the part where I said all those racial slurs. Just like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, keep those. I'm going to cut those out. Don't worry. I'm going to bleep those.
bleep.
But other than that, love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.